This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil.
What the hell is that? Come on,
You teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
Mark my words. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Hit that like button for me, guys. We are getting fired up in uno momento. Hope all is well. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate each and every one of you guys coming through, dropping your likes, your comments, spending your time here with me. But you know, we got a show to get to, and we might as well go and get to it, you know? Let me see.
Floor seats for the Knicks. Couple models blowing hits. They don't even wanna pick. Wanna lick up, wanna. I done made a couple hits. Going hammer with the pick. God handed me the gift. Not the slammer for a brick. Rollie ain't got a tick. I attract a lot of dicks. Getting caught up in the mix. Hollywood, same chicks. Didn't know that I be doing this. Went to school for paying pics. Now I paint the bigger pic. See him really with the shit.
Yeah, I'm for the floor seats. Now all the pretty girls, they love me. I'm on a jumbotron, you can ignore me. Just think of my seats and feel cozy.
Tiffany Storm fifth. I'm performing with the glitz. All the glitz up on the wrist. Waterfall, not the drip. Montage with a bit. Massage.
You know, one of these days, I got a lot of AI video content queued up because I don't know what it is, but in the last maybe 5-6 months, there's been a generational development in AI tech where they're creating the most amazing videos with just AI input. And Kanye and the Hugo Boss military uniform, chef kiss. Beautiful, beautiful.
Pretty girls they know me. I wanna jump on track, you can ignore me. Just think of my senses and cozy.
Tiffany Storm fifth. I'm performing with the glitz. All the glitz up on the wrist. Waterfall, not the drip. Montage with a bit. Massage with a hit the ground with a pick. Whole computer catch a glitch.
Madame.
Hold on, we gotta stop the show. We gotta stop this show. Portia, you know I can't do it, right? You know I just, Portia, you know there's no way, right? There's just no way. And as far as I'm concerned, I've already won whatever it is there would be a duel over, whatever it is he could possibly want a duel about. I've already won as far as I'm concerned. But thank you for the heads up. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's wild though. That's wild. Shout out to Big A Stanley though. I'm always on your mind. And it's really, really weird.
They say I remind them of rich. Richard parted with the chips. Looking like I caught a lick. You a hater, just admit. You be on one like Rick. I put you on to this shit. I was born in this shit. I'm the dawn in this shit.
We all going for the forces. Now all the pretty girls they know me. I wanna jump on track, you can ignore me. Just think of my senses and cozy.
Tiffany Storm fifth. I'm performing with the glitz. All the glitz up on the wrist. Waterfall, not the drip. Montage with a bit. Massage with a hit the ground with a pick. Whole computer catch a glitch.
I love this new era. AI plus the right wing's new creative explosion. Well, no, AI is actually fueling the new creative explosion on the right wing, but the creativity was already there. And oh my God, what are they doing? I'm going to totally have to cut this out of the video after we finish the show, but damn, that was dope.
I'm Mexican, jumping defense and running away, but no get far without my car. Illegal alien. Uh-oh, they're coming for me, man. I'm Mexican, jumping defense and running away, but no get far without my car. Illegal alien. Uh-oh, they're coming for me, man. I'm Mexican.
Really?
No, it's against the law.
Protest with the immigrants, cuz. What? We need to go downtown to protest with the essays. Go down there and protest? Yeah, you know, black and brown love. We are allies, blood. Let me think about that. Right.
Man, LA, dog, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. LA's racist.
But at the time, Martinez in that recording also referred to the child as a monkey. The councilman in a statement called the comments vile and disgraceful and said that, quote, Martinez attacked her son with horrific racist slurs and talked about her desire to physically harm him.
We don't want to sign to no blacks.
Right.
Southsiders do want, guess, I don't want to speak on that, but we don't want to sign to no blacks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The Mexican gang, they already have their laws.
Yeah.
And you're going to follow their laws.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sleep in the cell with a black guy.
Really?
No, it's against the law.
A Mexican gang member cannot have a black cellie.
No. He has to go to the hole.
So he has to basically fight that guy.
They sabotage black and white people on jobs, get black and white people fired on jobs. And then you would see their cousins, their uncles, their brothers, their sisters, and everybody on the job got fired because they didn't try to get you out of there, and their whole family is there. And don't let one of them get to become a supervisor.
You know what? I'm gonna just sit this one out.
For real, folks? Are you sure?
Yeah, I am sure.
One of the worst things about being black in America has got to be experiencing racism from other minorities, bro. That shit is so disheartening. Like, damn, bro, you too. And one of the reasons why we be feeling so jaded about this is because black people are always down with other people's causes. Like, to be black in America means that
Portia, if you got that video queued up, I do need that. Please hit me up on you know how to find me. Just send it to me. Thank you so much.
Ingrained in your nature to stand up against injustice. And that shit just don't be feeling reciprocated, bro. Like, black people are always accepting of other people into our cultures. We might make our jokes or whatever, hee hee ha ha, but if you contribute to our culture, we will welcome you into our spaces. And it just be sad to, like, it'd be like, damn, bro, you too. One of the worst things about being black in America has got to be experiencing racism from
I'm having other black people in my comments telling me I'm a guest in this country. Someone who was born and raised in America, who learned American history along with Black American history, that I am a guest in this country solely because I am not a descendant of formerly enslaved people. I cannot speak on anything that goes on in this country solely because I'm not a descendant of formerly enslaved black people. Would you say the same thing about Malcolm X? Because this mom's from Grenada. Would you say the same thing about Kwame Ture? He was born in Trinidad and Tobago. Like, you're telling me Africans and Caribbeans cannot speak as a black person in this country because we are not people who were enslaved in America? That's the hill you want to die on? Because I don't understand. Like, your definition of blackness is y'all are moving the goalposts a lot, because you guys are saying, oh, well, we're not going to defend them. The same people who are telling me that I should sit back and that I'm a guest and I should shut up and just eat my food are the same people who are also saying, well, those people should have just voted for a black woman. Okay, using your argument, Kamala Harris is not a black woman either. If I'm a guest, she a guest. And she a half a guest, by the way. I got 2 black parents. She got 1 black parent, he's from Jamaica. If that's the case, Obama's also a guest. His daddy and my daddy, they basically neighbors. What are you talking about? So if y'all...
The extra large shine on your forehead tells me that your parents are both Somalian. Possibly Eritrean. I would give you Eritrean, maybe. There's a possibility of Eritrea. But I'm getting straight up Somali vibes. Just want to put that out there. I mean, look at that shape. Look at that cranial structure. All right. We're doing old school white man scientific racism tonight. Look at the shape of this bitch forehead. You are not like us, love.
Harris is not a black woman either. If I'm a guest, she a guest. And she a half a guest, by the way. I got 2 black parents. She got 1 black parent, he's from Jamaica. If that's the case, Obama's also a guest. His daddy and my daddy, they basically neighbors. What are you talking about? So if y'all don't want to organize, that's 100% within your right. I'm not telling you what to do, but if you're gonna come up here and out loud advertise and brag about the fact that you're willing to turn a blind eye to literal fascism and to continue to be in the comments of black people who are saying that they're going to fight against fascism and tell them that they shouldn't because they're a guest, you're weird as fuck and you a goofy ass bitch. Point blank, period. I don't give a fuck. Argue with your grandma.
You know what's crazy to me, bro, is when they had the BLM protest, everybody was popping out. Every celebrity, YG, the Ball brothers, everybody was popping out. All the sports teams putting BLM on their back, you know what I'm saying? Wearing BLM shirts, you know what I'm saying? Freedom, wearing all these shirts. I'm talking about the NBA right now, actually. Where's that now? Where are the celebrities now? Where are they protesting now? Where are the teams now? Why is nobody speaking up? Even Kendrick Lamar made a song. Lil Baby made a song. But where's everybody now? Where's all the celebrities? Why is nobody popping out now? Now that everybody's protesting in Los Angeles, San Diego, Diego, Chicago, because of ICE. Where is everybody now? Why is nobody speaking up? Why is just the minority speaking up now? You feel what I'm saying? Nobody's talking. Nobody's speaking. You know what's crazy to me, bro, is when they had the BLM protest.
Over equality. Wait your turn, and to those young raza or raza who want to believe that, you better turn your TV, brother. You better turn your radio,
So what do you
man.
think about these Black Lives Matter that they want to be paid for being what is it, slaves and all that?
Reparations.
Yeah, there.
Are you talking about? Well, I heard they passed in North Carolina.
Yes.
But it was
What?
It was a small little town in North Carolina that passed reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it. So
yeah, and that's when we, the Raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody getting reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group, dog? This is the United States, a melting pot. How are you going to give it to a specific group?
because right now they've got the white people with so much guilt.
Yeah,
It was your parents.
yeah.
And
most of the so-called Africans or African American people are actually indigenous to this land. You know, they were already here. Columbus didn't find nothing new. There were already people here, you know, and he was in search while he was studying prophecy and scripture, trying to find a holy people that were promised the land that was located to the west, which was essentially us. And when he came on this land, he called us Indians because he thought he landed in India, which it wasn't true, you know. But we're melanated people. Some contain a little bit more melanin than others, you know, but we're still indigenous to this land. This land is ours, you know. So all this reparations and stuff that they want to give, you know, 40 acres and a mule or whatever, that's frivolous. That wouldn't account for anything, you know. That's blasphemy against our people, black and brown. We need our land back, point blank. There's no amount of money that can substantiate the amount of killing and bloodshed that's been done on our people, point blank period. You know, so I don't know, it would be the somebody at me asking you, hey, how much do you think you're worth? Are you worth 40 acres and a mule? Oh, nah. I think you're priceless.
For backup, you guys, there is about 30 cars. I have a wall that stops this window, but if I go in the other room, I can show you guys. It is bad. They camped outside waiting for these people to come out of this Nigerian club. It's called Lagos in downtown LA. This is on Broadway. Waiting for them to come outside because they're trying to leave to go home. Boom, rounding them all up. Yes, there was a shot that was fired, and I'm not sure if he's seeking any type of medical attention. It's just not fair. They were trying to leave. I'm gonna go to the other window, you guys. Hold on, sorry. I can see more from my window. Don't mind my damn pizza slides. I'm just a chismosa. You see, it continues and it continues, and again, I have that block, but I don't have another room there. They arresting anybody on the damn street, and they will wait for you to leave your fucking apartment, anywhere. They knew where to get their money at. Yeah.
So I'm glad the word is getting around. Watch this.
On my live, I said that so far, 3 African nurses who have sat on FBA panels have had their jobs called and they're complaining of harassment, and they said I was lying, right?
talking about Africa, they were putting different video. Children were involved in all those things. Do you know I went and opened my mouth at the time? That was my real age, my real name, first name, last name. Do you know the people went and searched me, found my husband on IG, found my job? Do you know the people that went and they pulled me out my unit to investigate me because they say I was on here discriminating against AA? So it was you? I'm telling yeah. It was you? That was me. That's how I managed to come up here and change everything around. They put me on my unit, put me on an investigation, and they said I have a problem with AA people. And I'm supposed to be helping everybody. I'm supposed to be working for everybody. This is what I mean. So this is not just about this app. It's beyond this app, my sister. This is no joke.
So yeah, if you think you come to this land and you think you call people slaves, you think you can denigrate people, you think you can tell people they have no culture, customs, traditions, and you think that you're safe by spreading hate, we're gonna let you know we on your heels. We are on your heels. You're not gonna be able to come here and be able to talk, say the most nasty, vile, disgusting, root chakra, demonic things.
Shout out to Freeman's Journal, man. You say FBA petty AF. Bro, they are, and I'm for it, and I hold no grudges. I bear them no ill will. Shout out to the Midwest Request with the $2 super chat. He says, Democrats made a terror dome for reparations, bro. It's going to be so lit. Wait till the POC wars start. Oh, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. We're going to come back to that in a minute. True Hype with the $2 super chat. He says, we was Aztecs, bro. We was everything. We was everybody. We were everywhere all the time.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was K. We was K.
Ah, man. Anyway, let's get back to the African beef, though. The African beef is funny. I got something for the African beef, though.
We're gonna let you know we on your heels. We are on your heels. You're not gonna be able to come here and be able to talk, say the most nasty, vile, disgusting, root chakra, demonic things, and think you're gonna be okay. So now we're glad that you tiptoeing on your toes. We're glad that you understand. Stop being very disrespectful and talking down on other people, right? So we're glad you guys are finally getting the message. Hopefully you guys straighten up. Hopefully you guys remove the hate from your heart. And hopefully you guys get it together. With that being said, try peace about your key. Y'all be safe.
Now, like I said, I'm not really into the FBA 80s gang banging online. I don't really care to wave that flag all proudly, but I support it quietly because it is Black Americans making an organic attempt at American patriotism. And I'm all for American nationalism. And so if Black people are making baby steps toward American nationalism, Godspeed.
So before this any come together, there's a lot of hatred, disdain, and jealousy that needs to be removed. A lot of dead weeds. This is a 59-year-old nurse that's about to say what they're about to say.
Africans and African Americans, we've never gotten along. Not today, not yesterday, not 20 years ago, not 100 years. We've never gotten along. We don't get along. All I'm saying is that stay in your lane and I stay in my own lane. I don't have any interest or desire to have that kind of relationship that I know will never be. There is no need for me to pretend to like you. You don't like me, and I with my full chest. I don't like you either. So this one that we're supposed to come together, don't ask me to come and join you to march down the street for whatever cause it is you're marching. I'm not coming to march anywhere with you. So all I'm saying is that, why are we here asking each other to get along? Thinking that, we think African sisters were better than, I think I'm African, I'm better than African American. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have any African American friend. I don't need to be friends with any African American. There's nothing friendship with them that I find interesting through in university. I don't have any ounce of interest in developing any type of relationship with any of my African
like you went through some really traumatic
I don't have any interest, zero. If I see you coming down the road, I turn around and go the other way. I don't have any interest whatsoever to have a relationship with you. I hate them. I hate them. End of story. There's no resolution. I hate them, period. Saying I beat my full chest to say I take ownership of how I feel. You don't have to expose me. I will tell you how I feel. You don't have to second guess me and say, oh, these people are this thing, that thing, and I'm going to expose them. You are not exposing anything. Me, I will tell you how I feel. And I'm telling you how I feel.
Well, in conclusion, anyone that has this amount of hatred, disdain, jealousy, and outright hatred to the point that they're grinding their teeth together shouldn't be in certain positions of power, especially when people's lives are in their hands. Peace and light, love and light. Japisa Lachiki. Y'all be stupid.
I hate them.
Fuck you. War.
How do you get
I agree with that.
Right.
Well, wait, the window is open. Wait. Real quick, the window is open now. So I don't know if you heard me say this already, Hood Conservatives, but I could smell it on JD Vance. That's a white red pill dude. I could smell the manosphere on him. The window, that's the window right now. Right, go ahead.
But that's my point about rethink your relationship to the concept of race, because he's a white red pill dude. And remember, the white manosphere is allegedly the racist manosphere and all those, talking points, right? And my point is, black guys, I think as black men, the idea of race is kind of the thing that's holding us back from actually looking toward the things that need to be done. We did a lot that helped the race in terms of like the 60s and the civil rights and all that. And now what's happening is men can't even run their homes the way they want to. And nobody wants to address that, but they want men to do more and more and more to keep the women happy. And I don't think, being mad at a JD Vance
let me
you got to deal with things as they come. But let's not just, follow the women along every time.
No. It's not with the women, because our argument with the women and with the white folks is different. The women just want to be in. They're angry because they're not in. That's not our argument. White men and the white manosphere and the black manosphere are different for two simple things. Black men just want compliant black women who are on their program. White men want everyone to bow. It's different. The fundamental difference between the white manosphere and the black manosphere is we just, for the most part, niggas say submissive, they don't mean that. They want cooperative black women. That's not what white men are talking about. White men are letting you know what they're talking about right now. They want everyone to bow. They want to go back to the 1950s, know your fucking place. And they're saying that shit.
I don't know if the manosphere is saying that. Those are different white guys. I know those white guys you talk about, but that's not like the white manosphere.
Some of them are manosphere dudes. I don't know if you've been listening close. Yeah, some of them white men, you listen to them close enough. Every once in a while, if you want me to start listing them, they get real close. They start implying and say, and some of them just outright say it. So,
either way, the point is they're tough decisions to make.
There's a reason.
I'm
sorry. There's a reason why there's a black manosphere, and BGS said it back in the day. They do not like us, and we do not like them. For the exact same reason. They've always been on that white supremacist stuff. It's just when it's convenient, they use black men's talking points. So, and I'm gonna keep it short when I say this. From my point of view, we treat an adversary like an adversary, no matter who it is. The guys who are liberals that are adversaries, they're adversaries. The guys that are conservative who are adversaries, adversaries. Black adversary, adversary. White adversary, adversary. Feminist, adversary. They don't get a special pass because they're different.
Let me point a thing out, and I'm not contradicting. I don't even want to fight you guys on the existence of racism and what happened. I'll assume all of the things, right? Because it's not the point that I want to make, right? Right now, black people are being called on to show some kind of solidarity, some kind of support for the Latino community, specifically the Mexicans in California, because allegedly we're all in this together. Why? Against the white people, right? But without even really trying, there's already a split, and I'm gearing up to do a whole show about this, where the public black people, so like your elected officials, your celebrity types and whatnot, the majority of the public professional black people, they're like, yeah, we got to help, we got to fight Trump, blah, 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 blah. But your rank and file, I make videos on TikTok and nobody knows who I am. bunch of these people are like, why would you do this? Why are you going to go over there and help them, right? So that automatically sides us with American nationalism, which is the white folks, right? So all I'm pointing out is that there are tough decisions that have to be made in the here and now, and not necessarily seen through the lens of 1965.
That doesn't make us side with American nationalism. It's two people that don't like us.
Yeah, but one of them got to go. And so that leaves us alone here with the other. So that means we still stuck with this other. So we have to work it out no matter what, right?
Here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing, Hoodservative. If that's really the case, then you know both of those others ain't rocking with us.
No, I don't say that. I don't necessarily say that, right? But this is my take on it, right? And this is why this is how I think through the whole issue. No matter how you slice it, when it comes to like, people think this is like a racist term of like blood and soil and all that, but blood and soil applies to two people in America specifically, us and them. And so I think when it comes to like, well, we have to do this immigration thing because there's way too many foreigners in here, and a lot of black folk are just quietly agreeing like, yeah, listen, I ain't got nothing to say when you kick the niggas out, because in our bones, it's just us and them.
Even if that's a thing, it's just us and them. That means we're adversaries.
I don't know if it's adversarial like that.
Everything about the last 400 years, brother, has told us it's been adversarial.
Well, I mean, everybody in that context, everybody's been trying to conquer everybody. So yeah, I'm not saying you're totally wrong, but everybody's been trying to conquer everybody. But we don't live in that era right now.
Let's not convolute it by everybody. Let's talk about the white man bringing the black man over here in the ship in 16.
Well, who hasn't taken black slaves, nigga? I mean, everybody was taking black slaves, bro.
We're not talking about. We cannot go back. None of us are Superman. Spin back to Earth in history and undo what the Romans did to the Franks and no.
You know, I dropped that line on him on the panel. Who hasn't taken black slaves? And, you know, from a historical perspective, like, if you didn't have any black slaves, nigga, you just wasn't popping yet. Everybody took black slaves, bro. That's just the way it was. Everybody, especially, like, if you were European and you had a black slave, that nigga was an exotical. Like, he came from far. They ain't never seen a nigga like you before. If you ain't had a black slave in antiquity, you just wasn't popping, nigga.
None of us are capable or motivated to do any of that. We can only focus on where we come from and what we are a product of.
No,
and what we are a product of and what we've experienced is a specific kind of experience to a specific kind of people from a specific kind of people from a specific plot on Earth over the last 400 years. And we should focus on that.
Well, I mean, I am focused on that too in my own argumentation right now, because what I'm offering is that what we've done up until the point of now has been what we needed to do to get here, right? I don't know if the solutions of yesterday solve the problems of tomorrow.
But who said the solution? Who said the problem of yesterday was solved? Who said the problem of yesterday was solved? I mean.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to play that much of it, but later on in this discussion, Ed comes on the panel. You guys know Edward Anderson, right? Shout out to Hurricane Edward. Hurricane Edward comes on the panel later on. And again, I said this earlier, shout out to everybody over there on Mr. Z's platform, because this was actually a really great discussion in my estimation. I enjoyed it. It wasn't typical the way I go on other people's panels and there's a bunch of simpery and niggas want to get emotional and stuff. Like, whatever emotionality was felt, you know, it was kept and checked, and we had a logical argumentation. We had a logical argument about the issues, and I really enjoyed that moment. That being said, I came to a point with Ed where I asked him flat out, legislatively, What more do black people want to ask for? I don't get what more can black people ask for legislatively in terms of like civil rights, because reparations is going to be the obvious answer, and that's kind of a non-starter. But I don't know what more we can actually ask for from the law. You can't legislate your respect, and that seems to be what black people are trying to do, and that is folly. You can't do that.
Literally, you have what happened to Myron when he was going back and forth with that white dude on was that even Myron's channel? What happened? What happened when that white dude checked him? I know you heard it, conservative. What happened?
I mean,
what did the white guy tell Myron
They did a
James?
show together.
It was
He said some shit to him. I mean, listen.
It wasn't just some
nothing in his life changed.
What I'm saying is that's what they believe. The reason why that matters, and I don't know why you minimize this shit, it's because when I know that's what is that the heart of you, I know why you move the way you move, why you talk the way you talk, why you advocate the way you advocate. You're walking in you're walking in a direction. Sometimes what we're saying might sound similar, but it's not the same. So the black manosphere and the white manosphere, sometimes what we say sounds real similar, but I appreciate that when I'm saying black women get on a black man's program, and when they saying everyone get on my program, it's two different things.
Now, here, this is one thing I realize is a problem with the problem I'm trying to present to these guys. There's a problem with the problem, right? The average black man has that level of sentiment, right? That's the prism through which they see the world, that the white man is the ultimate devil, and I can only see him as that. And my whole reason for even broaching this subject matter with these guys is to point out how, even if I accept everything you say about the history and the white man and slavery and Jim Crow and 400 years and 12 years of slaves, all those things, right? Even I take your word at all the things, and I even put an extra little bit of hot sauce on it too, right? How does addressing that address the problems of immigration that we're dealing with right now, that are actually going to swallow up the black community, that are actually going to make the black vote a non-factor, right? Fighting racism won't get the Mexicans out of your job.
That's the fundamental difference. Again, so when I'm not even speaking to that
part, but fine. You know what? While we're on a quick pause in the flow, let me take a moment to thank the Midwest Request with the $2 super chat. He says, Hood slipping red pills in their 40 ounce. I'm gonna take a sip to that. You gotta really be like a sniper with these guys. You gotta just drop them in, and they don't even know they've been hit with a red pill. It's like, what the hell was that? And this is what I try to do. This is why I enjoy going into like hostile territory. Not that Mr. Z's channel is hostile at all. We pretty much in line on a lot of things, except, far right, far left politics. But I've learned over the years that you do have to kind of slide in on these niggas, man. You come in too hot, they're going to get all offended and stuff. And shout out to the Midwest Request. And Big Time with the $2 super chat. He says, talking to ends is exhausting, bro. It's a hobby. It is. I won't even lie. Talking to ends is exhausting, but it's a hobby, man. I do it for the love.
I'm telling you, man. This the reason why I be hating niggas, man. I'm telling you, man. It just be us. I be hating niggas, man.
Man. Can't tell me I don't love the people.
No, but I'm tying that to Myron, and I'm tying that to the larger white manosphere, because I'm tying that to the larger white manosphere because the larger white manosphere has a very specific goal in mind. They're getting their women in order to then get the world back in order in their mind, which is behind them, underneath them. That's not exactly what we're doing here.
Why are you not on that track though? Like, why is that such a retarded concept for you guys? Like, oh, they're getting their women in order so they can conquer the world? Nah. I won't let this girl tell me what to do. Never mind. That's crazy idea. That's crazy talk. That's poppycock.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's like they just don't want to see it, bro. Like you gotta reach for the brass ring, man.
They don't just stop at getting their women at order.
Hey, can I
hold on?
Can I touch a small part of this?
If the white man is moving toward getting, let me just say this one thing, and I'll answer your question. If the white man is getting their women in order, then I think the proper thing to do is to follow and get our women in order at the same time. So either way, that puts us on a parallel track. But yeah, somebody want to ask.
Wait. Look, somebody recall what I said. Wait, Leon. Wait. Let me land, bro. I just said it to you. We're gonna say things that sound similar. I agree with what you just said, and I took it a step further. I said our goal is to get black women in line and get black women in order and get them on our program. That they don't stop there. They're only getting white women in order to then re-grab what they feel like they lose it. To get a better grasp.
Don't get black women in order. I don't.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. Wait. Leon, let me land, bro. Leon, let me land. Everyone, let me land, please. What I'm saying is, no, we do not stop trying to get black women in order. I'm not trying to be obtuse. I don't know if you're not trying to be obtuse. The goal is that they get their women in order and then they keep on going. And then they keep on going and re-grasp this thing. They feel like they're losing the global order. The push from China, the Middle East, always on fire, really. They feel like they're losing their grip. Whether they're actually losing their grip or not is a whole different conversation. They kind of are. But is it exaggerated in their minds? Probably, right? So that's what I'm trying to emphasize. Go ahead and land and then let Leon go, please.
Yeah, real quick. To that degree, I don't think you're completely wrong in that sense. You know, we can quibble about details, but I kind of flow in your direction on that whole thing. Fine. We are not Africans. We are not Jamaicans. We're not Caribbeans. We are not the global blacks. We live in America. It is good for Black America to get rid of the foreigners. It is good for Black America for America to be globally dominant, right? I don't think Black America being what do you think? We're going to get racially annihilated? We're going to get put back on a farm or something? I don't think any of these things are happening. So what you think is the white man is going to
I don't think that. I'm asking you to have an imagination and think of real quick, Leon, real quick, and I'm just asking this question. You got it. You don't have to answer it now, but think of what a permanent underclass looks like in the 21st century. It does not look like going back on a plantation. It looks different. Go ahead, Leon.
We'll be that if we don't get rid of the Mexicans. That's what I mean. We have to just let it happen. Okay, bro, you got your question.
Oh no. Okay, so I remain neutral in the Latino Hispanic thing, and this is just my stance on it. We know how Black people are living in Mexico. Those Black Mexicans, we know how they living in Brazil, Colombia, etc. We know how they've been treated. Yo, you better do some advocacy work over there before you ask Black Americans to do anything for you. At the same time, I'm not going to get in your way and vote against y'all. That's how I move. I just move neutral with it. Y'all not doing shit for them people in Mexico, and I've been there. Okay.
And see, that's a problem. I think a lack of imagination on behalf of the Black electorate, where he says, I'm not going to get in y'all way and vote against y'all. Why the hell not? And I'm not saying that you should just automatically, but why is that some kind of principle that you hold highly? Like, dude, if you're doing a thing that I think might be harmful to me, then I'm going to get in your way and vote against y'all. Why is that like such a lack of vision psychologically?
Same with other South American countries. The order that I think you're failing to understand, conservative, this idea of hierarchy and how they operate. The women are out of order because they allow them to be out of order. We're not going to get them in order in that fashion because just like Black Guru said, the moment that you flex and they call the fucking cops on you, then you figure out what the deal is. They don't want order in your community. Never wanted it in the Black community. They want order within their hierarchy, within their global hierarchy.
Now, here's a big difference between this group and myself when it comes to the concept of they don't want us to do this and they don't want Black people to do that. These guys typically see they as white supremacy as their construct, right? That is their boogeyman. And I do believe in an ethnic supremacy movement in the world, but I refuse to simply call it white. There is definitely a supremacy movement at large that, you know, is operating right now, that is at war right now to dominate all spheres of human interaction. Yet I don't see it as white. And this is a critical issue between how they see the world and how I see the world, and the logical political theories that would flow from these two positions.
And they want you disenfranchised. Okay? When you look at California, let me be clear. When you look at California, I don't want to hear nothing about apples and working on the vegetable farm. Those immigrants work every fucking industry in California. Guess what? Taxes are so fucking high that you can't even afford to open a business and profit money in California, because you have to compete against corporations that use prison labor or child labor because they're not citizens, or people that come over the border 24/7. If I can't use that labor, I can't compete in California. Plus, the taxes are so fucking high that you end up being a government worker or an hourly employee. You can't compete. And so what's going on over there?
White people that chase black people out of
bro.
California, though. That's kind of why.
Let me say this. Wait, everyone. Leon, wait.
Yeah, like I was trying to say there, I don't know if that was kind of clear, but white people did not chase black people out of Southern California. And Southern California used to be incredibly white. Like, I played the video for you guys. I think I might still have it here somewhere, but I played that video for you guys the other day of Southern California. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you the video real quickly. I'm going to show you the video again briefly of how it used to look out there, right? It was mostly white. Southern California was mostly white, and then you had black people like Denzel Washington and Devil in the Blue Dress, right? And then somewhere after the 50s, everything switched over. This was LA back then. It was a lot of white people and some of the black people. Things have changed, though. Things have changed. It don't look nothing like that now. Very, very different.
Wait, I'm talking to Dr. Thunder. Dr. Camera's on, so I don't know if you want me to bring you up. Your camera's on right now. Go ahead, yo.
Yeah. I said nothing about people leaving California. I talked about basically business and how they use immigration, child labor, and prison labor. That majority of people cannot afford to open a business because of all the regulations, and to compete with immigrants that you're not allowed to use because they're going to run in your business and take those people out. But the corporations and prisons continue to fucking use them. So you can't compete in any region of activity. Like I said, most people in California work for the government in one shape or form, are government funded agencies, or their employees.
Infinite Observer made a pair of comments that I want to address. He says, the inability to move forward while having no plan in the present. Yeah, you feel that too, right? And again, these are internal black problems that have nothing to do with white people or systemic racism or anything. It's the kind of thing like, if you want to save yourself, if you are about the business of saving yourself, then you have to actually work on you first, right? So there are internal issues that are going to prevent Black America from actually grappling with the issues that are confronting everybody moving forward, right? We're stuck in the civil rights problem, and we're not really fighting a civil rights battle at this point. Fighting the civil rights battle isn't going to stop all the non-black immigrants. I mean, I'm sorry, it's going to stop the other black immigrants from moving into black neighborhoods and encroaching on Black American culture.
Okay, so, and then you still can't compete because that's where they bring up, all the cheap goods from China and everywhere else. You can't compete, so it's you're fucked. And if you think you're gonna upset their orders so you can compete better, you have to get really fucked up.
the reason why I mentioned like black people leaving California is because the ultimate result of what you're talking about is the new immigrant population they create a beachhead, they get a foothold, now they have a sanctuary community, and now black people can't survive there. And how does fighting systemic racism help us fight that particular issue, which is actually moving black people out of a region that we basically been developing since, you know, the end of Jim Crow?
Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as $800 billion. $800 billion. That's 2.5 times the size of our entire state budget. To pay for that, you'd need a major tax hike, unlike anything this state has ever seen before. I recognize and acknowledge the painful part of our history. The pains of our past should not be paid by the people of today. The majority of our state is Latino and Asian, making up 55% of our population. Most of them, like me, are first, second, or third generation immigrants who had nothing to do with slavery, discrimination, Jim Crow laws, nothing. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing it. Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount.
The Mexicans ain't never gonna let you get your check, bro. You mad at me for being against immigration, reparations. I already know the Mexicans will never let you have it anyway. So I'm just gonna not even put any energy on a fight that's never gonna win.
Houston Community College is facing a $100 million lawsuit. Hundreds of African-American employees, both past and present, say they faced racial discrimination while working at HCC. Channel 2's Roseanne Aragon is live tonight with a closer look at what this new lawsuit claims. Roseanne?
This lawsuit was intentionally filed today. The plaintiff tells us she represents many. Houston Community College slapped with a $100 million racial discrimination lawsuit filed on none other than the Juneteenth holiday. At the center of the case is Zelia Brown, a former employee who says she and others have been racially targeted by HCC leadership. The suit also reveals an email chain from Chancellor Cesar Maldonado, which states now we Hispanics are going to receive preferential treatment.
This is a pattern. It is something that is methodically and deliberately done to ostracize that individual.
The suit names Maldonado, HR Director Janet May, and Board of Trustees member Adriana Thomas.
Now, my entire contention with the modern black political direction is, how do we fight that by fighting racism? Because right now, black politics is only designed to do one thing. Well, a couple of things, but it's all under one umbrella, right? We're fighting oppression. How does fighting oppression stop that? Because oppression right now, as it's categorized, is only top down from white people to all the others. So the Latinos don't really fit as, white oppressors, technically. They're brown people. It's POC violence. It's POC on POC violence, right? And so there is no proper framework under the modern black political paradigm to address POC on POC violence and oppression.
Claiming they worked intentionally on a, quote, well-developed, systematic, entrenched, and wildly successful campaign of race and sex discrimination against top-level black employees, stating that 90% of the longtime black professionals at HCC have either been terminated or demoted, while there has been a 50% increase in Hispanic hires and promotions.
Whether it is demoting them by pay, placing them in a lower level position, creating schemes.
Brown says it happened to her. In 2016, she was hired to advise on grant use and compliance. In 2018, when she found what she believes was a clear pattern of misused funds and spoke up.
Every avenue that I would go down, they would present an obstacle.
But the lawsuit cites other alleged tactics, including padding black employee personnel files with false complaints. For Brown,
they just immediately placed me on administrative leave.
In March, she resigned, and
there have been dozens, as I've said, that have come forward.
HCC says they have not been served yet, so at this hour, they do not have a response. For now, Roseanne Aragon, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Roseanne, thank you.
These ICE raids, they prove one thing, that these Latinos are practicing systemic discrimination. Systemic discrimination. It's not like people don't want to work at these jobs. It's just that Latinos only hire Latinos. That's what, when you see all these raids at these job work sites, 100% of them are Latinos. And like I stated, not to sound like a broken record, but they're not hiring nobody else. That's whites included. There's no white people there. There's no Asian people there, and there's no black people there. And these ICE raids are happening in the most diverse cities in this nation, from Miami to New York City, Tallahassee, Los Angeles, Chicago. I could only imagine how many people were discriminated against that applied at these particular jobs just because they weren't Latino. And these are also other marginalized groups that's being discriminated against. And when it comes to black Americans, you already know how it is. The discrimination, sometimes is systemic racism also practiced against black Americans. And to add Latinos in there with their race, with their discrimination, systemic discrimination.
I don't think y'all are grasping what I'm saying. Like, imagine time travel is real. Okay, you're enslaved, you're in the South, Harriet, she comes, she gets you, you flee to the North, you see the time machine, you get in it. You fast forward to 2023, and as you're in the time machine, it's like a slideshow documentary of all the progression, all the accomplishments that have been made for and within the black community. You begin to cry because you never thought that you would be able to see any of those things. You get out the time machine, you're looking around, taking it all in, and then suddenly you hear the N-word and you jump out of natural reaction. You turn to see who said it, and it's a Mexican. A Mexican. I don't.
A Mexican. A Mexican. I'm with her. I felt that in my. A Mexican. Like these little things don't really register for a lot of people, and that's why I have to raise these issues here. And I'm trying to raise them in good faith. Nothing I say is to be a dick or anything but this is what's happening now. And so my question is, if we're focused on doing the race thing, how does it solve that kind of thing that you brought up?
Hey, can I ask the question real quick? I'm gonna ask this to Z and her services, right? What's the opposite of gentrification? Like, not from the end of where the rich people move in, but the downtrodden and the immigrants and stuff move in. What is?
It's white flight.
Well, yeah, that's the one term for it. I don't know if there's a professional term for it though, like gentrification.
It's white flight regardless. I'll give you wait, Vince. I'll give you a prime example. So we used to think it was because black people in their crime rates and whatnot, and that's why when you move into a neighborhood, and three black families moving and the white folks move because they're afraid it's going to crime and they go get they shit stolen. But what we're finding is that even when too many Asians move into a community, they move out also because they don't want the competition for their kids and whatnot. They don't want the different culture. So either way, it's white flight. It's white flight coming and going. It's white flight from the top and the bottom.
Now,
so that's your answer for it. Go ahead.
So what happens when that is a situation that affects black people? Because that's what it sounds like what his service is talking about, and his point being that people are coming into the communities and neighborhoods where it's low funding and stuff like that, and pushing those people out towards where outskirts or obscure places. I still think, honestly, I say expect that conservative. I think that there's some other things I think you should be open to hearing, not as far as you being wrong or whatever like that, but to add more to context. Then, but
always willing to listen, bro. Always willing.
When they passed the 13th and 14th Amendment, that supposedly liberated black people, and gave effectively gave citizenship to Black people, and going forward, all native-born, I guess, Americans. They also started shipping more other people into this country. Irish people, Polish people, Latinos were coming in from westward. When they passed the 1964 Civil Rights Act, year after that, they passed the Immigration Act. Every time they supposedly have done something that was supposedly supposed to improve the interests and the rights and freedoms of Black people, they made a point of bringing more people into this country to supplant those very Black people. So this country has never done anything for any exclusive benefit for the population of Black people. Now they're supposedly kicking, illegals out. Okay, whatever. Honestly, from my perspective, I have to assume there's some.
Keep it 100. Earlier, I saw you type in the chat an offer to do politics as usual round 3. And I don't typically shy away from these things. I mean, look at me now. Let me show you something. 100. This is what you call holding court. This is me right here. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other Negroes. All right? 9 other Black people. And they don't really get where I'm coming from. I have to explain to them in great detail what exactly the problem is. And the point I'm trying to make is, I do this, bro. I've been doing this. Fucking lion tamer.
Some other unknown scheme that's going to come up, right behind us.
That's what I'm afraid of.
And
that's literally what I'm afraid of.
I assume that, and the reason why I assume that is because of history.
Well, not only that, but in one of the things that you have to also keep in mind is with a lot of legislation, even at a state and federal level, you have these riders, some of them call them pork barrel spending, different, whatever. And a lot of these things made provisions that made it easier for these people to come into our neighborhoods, come into our communities, and basically outcompete us because they had tax incentives and different things bolstering them that we didn't have.
That's facts. That's facts. I mean, once again, what we're dealing with is, and I think LAR might have actually said this once. You needed to keep the slavery going. So when slavery ended, it was about Europeans coming to the U.S. for the cheap. Now it's Black immigrants from either Africa or the Caribbean. It's East Asians. Quiet is kept. There's a lot of poor East Asians, right? So that's one of the things that we're running into right now. So and then they're gonna do automation. It's all about keeping that labor cost as cheap as humanly possible. That's what sending the jobs overseas was about. That was also about disciplining the working class of the 1940s, 50s, 60s.
Speaking of Asians, I don't think I brought this up on this panel. I know I mentioned this in a conversation with somebody else recently, but it's not just the Mexicans. I don't like to make it racially specific, being so, anti-immigration. Because I got no ethnic beef with the Mexicans, Now them Indians, on the other hand, it'd be feeling like personal with them, though. I ain't even gonna lie. I'd be feeling personal with them.
In 70s. So all of that is all about cheap labor, right? And
I got
America in particular got so addicted to cheap labor that is the name of the game now. And that's why they're biting on their fingernails, waiting for the automation, right? So there's that. Go ahead.
100. That link is just for you, real quick. I really don't want to have a panel tonight, but I'm 100. If you want to come up for a minute, that's for you right there, bro. I don't really want to have a whole panel. I don't have all day to talk to everybody. We can't keep this going for 4 or 5 hours tonight. Just wanted to point out, like you were pointing out with the cheap labor thing, I think there are a lot of complexities in the modern world to contend with, and a singular focus is not helpful if you really want to analyze the world. And so when we have these conversations about like black men or the black community at large, my concept of the black community stops and starts with black Americans, right? I don't really SBA, gangbang, and all that stuff, but I understand the sentiment and I support it 100% because, like I said, blood and soil, you know what I mean? And nobody else has that claim. It's us and them. And so I think maybe we should actually consider that part of the equation when we start to think about modern politics and what black men need now going forward. It's not just a simple racial thing like it was back in the day. Mic check. What's good? 100, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good, man. What's good? What are your thoughts so far? Something made you want to take the link tonight, man. And whenever we get the moment, because I know schedules be how it be, but whenever we get the moment, we'll do the next round of politics as usual.
Yeah, I got to get everybody on board. Now, what made me hit the link is when you pointed out everybody, because you've been having this graphic up, so I'm just trying to recognize everybody by voice. But when you said that these guys are struggling to understand what you're saying, what I'm trying to understand is what parts, because I came in here late, right? What parts are you guys disagreeing on that you're saying?
Oh, that's real simple. It's the white part. I'm not saying we have to be like quote unquote allies, like the the gay liberal concept of it, but I think that our interest as Black Americans align a lot more with the interest of white Americans than it does with any other ethnic group entering to the country right now.
In this context, I'd have to agree. I've been saying that for the past few days. Okay. It's my belief, to be honest, that I'll be telling white people, I said, look, if anybody's going to fight for America, with the same dedication and energy that you have, is going to be us. We are the Americans.
We've already done it. We have the history of it.
Right.
I mean, we'll put the civil rights to the side, but in terms of warfare and putting blood in the soil, like we're there. And this is what I meant. It's really only us and them. And so I'm willing to accept that. We don't have to have a perfect relationship, but I don't want to break the relationship for the sake of other people.
So yeah, I understand. It's like the way I see it is like, seeing that is true doesn't take away anything else. You understand what I mean? And that's why I say
no, I don't. No. What do you mean when you say that? Get a little more specific.
Okay, so I'll be specific, right? In this context, right? Yeah, we're aligned. There's things that we're not aligned on, and there's things that we are. Now, when you compare us to other groups of people, yeah, I would have to say in definitely in this context, or in the interest of what America is, where America's going, things of that nature. These other groups, they're not invested in that necessarily. In America, you understand what I mean? They might be invested in their group. They might even be invested in whoever they left in their mother country, but they're not invested in America. And something else you said I want to point out, right? Because I was talking to this dude the other day. He's talking about who's going to pick the fruit, and this something that you said that resonated with me. And I think it's Leon on the Leon, you there? I think Leon said this also.
Well, he was on that panel. It's just you and I right now.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like when Mexicans get over here, nobody picks fruit for 40 years. When they come to America, they come to America to get the American dream like everybody else. And they move on to industries that we're in and others. They truck. They do carpentry, they do construction, they do all of that stuff. Not just as employees, but as contractors, they get contracts. So all this stuff about who's going to pick the fruit and who's going to sell melons at the side of the road and all this other nonsense, you know, as if Mexicans are limited to that. I'm on the West Coast, bro. Right now, me and you from New York. We got Mexicans in New York, but it's not like over here, bro. Like this is another.
The New York Latinos are relatively American, and that we have maybe Puerto Rican is probably the biggest Latino group in America. Like not America, but in New York City, right? You got the Puerto Ricans, like the Puerto Rican Day Parade. It's a big day in New York City. I think it just happened too, because I kind of was on the train that day, seeing a lot of Puerto Ricans with their flags out. That's how you can tell. You can see the flags all over that day. But anyway, they're American by fact. Puerto Ricans are basically American because they're in American territory and they're not going anywhere and nobody's taking that from us. Now, Dominicans are in New York City too, and the Dominicans are really a minority, like a small group, in that they come from a smaller, not even an island. They come from half of an island, right? So they're not really racially chauvinistic the way like the Mexicans are and Latino, because they have the numbers, right? But that's actually the key. It's the numerical thing. And what I realized, and let me pause for a moment. Thank you. Shout out to Big Time with the $5 super chat. He says it's called regression to the mean, Hood. And I think what's happening is this type of regression to the mean, in the sense that everybody is a nationalist, and I want to say a racialist to some degree. Really, ethnicity is not really race, but everybody's a champion of their ethnicity for the most part.
Right.
And so I think what's happening right now with America and Black America is Black people are, like I said, with the FBA thing, we're exploring our racialism and our nationalism at the same time. And what I'm proposing is that as we do that, we respect the concept of white Americans' racialism and nationalism, and we move forward along that same parallel path together. They respect ours, we respect theirs, and us against the world.
I'm glad you said that, because earlier I was going to say I don't like calling these people racist. Like when we talk about the Mexicans and we call them a race. No, that's a nation.
Right.
Like these people come from a country, and they're named after their country. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not a race, like between them and whatever other off-brand, Latino country, all of them are of the same ethnicity. Like they're ethnic groups, right? But when they come over here, they're trying to achieve white status, right? When they fill out their, paperwork and things like that, that's the box they check, man. When you look at these papers, they say, they say Hispanic of either Caucasian or African descent, or whatever the case. I'm not saying the exact words that's on that, but you understand what I'm saying.
You see this image on the screen right now, Mohamed?
Yeah.
This is a relatively famous painting from South America. I forget exactly the name of the author. There's a bunch of artists over the years, but what this painting symbolizes is that Latin American racialist concept, where the dark Latin Americans want their dark-skinned children to either be, date among themselves or date up, which is to date white.
Right.
And so they embrace the concept of racialism in a different way than Black people do. For Black people, this whole concept is anathema. We look at that as like race traitorism or something like that. It's not the same thing with Black America. But the point is, they use that concept of whiteness strategically to separate themselves from the concept of Black. Like it's an actual historical thing in America. Like Mexicans specifically have lobbied to be categorized as white from a legal documentation point of view.
So let me say this, right? Well, I tell people, I said in one of the last video that I did, like, a lot of these places that the Europeans colonized, the people there identify with the colonizers, right? They because the colonizers run the place. I guess indigenous people, the people that look more indigenous, they seek to replicate the genetics of the colonizer. Now, something you said about black people, like we do it the other way around. Not really. If you think about it, right? Women, black women in particular, right? They would love to do what these Hispanics are doing. They just don't have the option. The white man don't want them.
All women are like that. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, that's what it is. But the white man don't want them, right? So because the white man don't want them, they're stuck with us, and they shame us with the whole, you know, we got to breed within. Black men probably want to do that, and I think that, you know, a lot of the pushback that, let's say me, I get in the space is telling dudes to leave these chicks alone, and what they really want is they really want to be with black women, and they want to reproduce black and things like that, and they're at odds with the women. Not really, they want them under certain conditions, but the reason why,
and I think that's natural. I think that's the natural thing. I'm sorry, I'll stop you right there, please. I think that is a natural desire. Every man of their group wants the women of their group. That's not that's not a weird thing. And I think the problem for black men is there is no level of control that they can exert over the women to maintain that desire and that dream. And so that's the friction.
Right. So I agree with you. What I'm saying is the men desire that. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. The women, they really don't desire it. It's like women saying they say stuff and then they do something else. So they'll tell you what they desire. Just like, you know, the woman that you had up there talk about patriarchy doesn't work or trying to replicate patriarchy, but then you ask black men to do all the patriarchal shit that you would want, like you want them to pay this and protect and provide it. All that shit is patriarchy. So you're saying you don't want patriarchy, but you want patriarchy really when you want to cherry pick. When you leave this country, you're not black anymore. You're American, right? When you leave America, you're a national of the United States. When you go over there, that's how they treat you, right? And when you go to these other countries, you'll see, you know, these ethnic groups, races, or whatever you want to call them, mixing in a way that they don't hear. And one of the reasons I say is because black women outside of America do not have an issue dating outside of their so-called race. The reason why you had these issues here and, you know, black women shaming black men into fucking with them is because black women cannot easily miscegenate. They can't. Because just by their nature and their attitude and the way they're cultured, they don't really do, you know, they don't appeal to the sensibilities of white men here or the sensibilities of any non-black man, period, in America. They don't like all the, you know, stuff we talk about masculinity.
I've been saying for a while.
Right.
I've been saying for a while, 100, that most, not just black women, but I think most female politics is really driven by sexual frustration to one degree or another, in the sense that they go to government to get the things that they can't get with their own, the things that their vagina can't command, they go to government for.
Well, okay, let me put black women aside. Women, as a general rule, want access to the best men possible, right? So you got other groups of women who are able to accomplish this. You got Latinas, you got the Asian women, and on the other side, the love is reciprocated. You see white men dealing with Asian women and marrying them. You see white men dealing with Latina women and marrying them. Now, white men might smash black women, but they don't really want to marry them, right? And we can go into depth about the millions of reasons why that might be, but black women are struggling with trying to get the best men available. And when I say best men, meaning in their eyes, like the ones who want to give them the best life, have them in the best social circles and upgrading in class and you know, lifestyle. That's what this is about. So their hate for black men has always been about that. It's always been about that. It's always been about you comparing us to the white man, but you don't want the white woman's issues under the white man.
Well,
right?
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this, because I want to move off the women thing tonight, because, you know, I don't always want to talk about women, but let me say this though, right? I think, like, with the Miss Ann syndrome thing that you're referring to, the problem that a lot of the black men are running up against right now, and it's kind of a historical thing if you think about it. You want what Miss Ann has, but you don't want to see the black man like Mr. Charlie. Meaning,
Right.
if the black man has all the things that the white man has, you're not going to respect him the way you respect the white man for having it, even though you want to be the white man's woman. You want to be Miss Ann. There's a disconnect there. And that's a hugely frictional point between black men and women.
Right.
But again, let's move off of that for a minute, because I want to read
Okay.
these super chats, and I want to address these super chats, and you can address it as well, really. KMS with the $20 super chat says, I was on Z's panel. In my humble opinion, the disconnect wasn't commonalities with whites in relation to immigrants, but fear of being used as the quote mascot for America for the Americans, sans true tangibles. Read Black Women and Democrats. Now, I think you're kind of in line. You're speaking of something really, really apt right there. That's a good question. It's not necessarily that Black people are going to be mascots, and frankly, I don't really care. I don't care. Seen as mascots by whom? The people who are kicking out? As if I care of the opinions of people that were kicking out. You see, it doesn't matter if we're quote unquote seen as mascots, and really, that is black shaming. It's black left-wing shaming to keep black people away from the idea of like American nationalism and black ethno-nationalism under an American context, right? Not like some separatist thing. But America for Americans is our tangible. Right here, right now, under the model of the problems that we're facing now, America for Americans is our tangible because we are the Americans. But what do you say to that, 100?
Oh no, we definitely are the Americans. You know, anybody who follows my Facebook knows that, you know, I've been giving them a ton of shit over there. Yeah, we are the Americans. I had a guy talk about, you know, oh, but you can be deported too. I'm like, bruh, nah, not even. Both sides. Slave black, bro. It ain't happening. That's not an issue that I got to worry about. And other than that, like, again, none of these people are really invested. They came here for whatever benefit, or they sent one family member over here to send some shit back. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they can go back home. There's nowhere for us to go. All this Pan-African shit that me and I don't know. I don't want to say names on your shit, but like me and other content creators have been debating since they've been on here. All this Pan-African shit, you know, show me a Pan-African YouTuber that's been to Africa, or show me where Pan-Africa is. I'd like to go.
Pan-Africa sounds like a magical place, doesn't it?
Right. Hey, hood man.
Like Narnia for niggas.
Get 2 tickets to Pan-Africa, man. They tried Pan-Africa. You know what happened? You know, the real Africans went to war with them. Remember Liberia? And that was my debate to them.
The thing about Liberia, if you think about it, Liberia it's oddly based for black people, because the first thing the black Americans did was low-key enslave them niggas, because that's the only way to get some productivity out of you, motherfucker.
Bro, listen.
That was the only way to make it work, is we had to crack the whip on
I mean,
you.
did we really though? Because I often hear that narrative, right? Look, if I got an apartment, right, and my man need a place to stay, he ain't got no money. I got all the money. You gonna clean up in this bitch, man. I'm not enslaving you. You're contributing in the way that you can.
No, we enslaved them because we came out of nowhere like, this is now our land. This land was your land. This now is land is my land. Like, we came over there like the white man and really just conquered Liberia.
Well, technically, the white man sent us over there. Liberia is similar to Israel.
The white man sent us over there, but we came over there like the white man. That's my whole point. That's why it's such a funny thing. And it all fell apart later. But it's a funny thing in that I don't begrudge the idea of like colonialism and slavery and all that from a historical perspective, because it is what it is. This is what people do. This is what people have done. And if these lights go off tomorrow, this is what people will do.
But we're not equals.
Nobody's equal to nobody, bro. If I kill you,
get
you
that.
can't tell me you're equal to me because I can kill you. Like, no, that's not how it ever works.
Hood, listen to what I'm saying. The Chinese man is over on the continent doing all of that, right? And nobody got an issue with it over, like, they're starting to complain about it. But what I'm saying is, right, these African nations do everything they can to prevent Black Americans from coming over and doing exactly what you described, right? But then the Chinese people got their own areas over there. They get to start their businesses without partnering up with nationals. They can do everything that a full citizen can do over there. But then you only got an issue because you're worried about niggas coming over there to enslave you. When you're enslaved, who you think? You think that them Africans is working fair labor with these Chinese? I'm not saying you. Whoever has that idea that, you know, it's only an issue when niggas do it. It's only these Chinese is over there busting nuts in your African women and bouncing back to China like it ain't no shit.
Let me say this, honey. Niggas only make it an issue because the white man has done it or will do it, right? But you see, none of these niggas, they saying nothing about China. They got that whole Empire of Dust documentary with that famous meme of the Chinese guy. Like, it's all so tiresome. Like, nobody says nothing about Chinese colonization of Africa right now, but white colonization is like the devil. It's the boogeyman that we're all supposed to be perpetually operating under the fear of. And my whole contention, my whole point in bringing up that argument, I'm gonna bring the clip up, and you can respond to the replay on the clip here. But my whole contention bringing that up with Mr. Zio on the panel was that we can't keep being stuck in that old framework. Like, if you really want to get down to it, everybody would colonize everybody else if they had the power to do it. So let's not be stuck in this perpetual hatred that's going to blind us against the problems that are here right now. That's my whole thing. I'm not trying to say nothing ever happened. I'm not saying that they're perfect angels. I'm saying everybody's a demon. We all got to work it out together. We still got to be here. Let me not say demon, but, you know, we're all savages in this place trying to make something happen.
Well, now I hear what you're saying, man. I mean, I could, you know what? I'm gonna leave it alone because some world history goes against that, and but you're right in a general sense. You're right in a majority sense, but you know, at the end of the day, like I said, when it comes to the, you know, when I'm talking about the Pan-African dudes, you know, like that there's this, you know, there's this pipe dream aspiration that, yo, we gonna go over there and we all gonna hold hands and get along because we all black. Like, all of them are black, right? Their system of differences is not based on skin color because everybody there is black. That's like this idea that China should get along with Japan because they both got slanty eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's dumb shit. But
right, they got real beef.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I'm about to play this clip real quick.
Right.
Hey, can I jump in here?
Oh, shout out to
go ahead. Yeah. Hey, what's happening, everybody? So it's interesting because my position on this is somewhere in the middle. I can acknowledge that from a strategic perspective that what Hoodservative is saying, you have to take what you could get based on what the currents are. I mean, and even if the currents are leading in a direction eventually you have to veer off of, then you have to, then that's just what you have to do, because there's no real, pardon the pun, there's no real black and white here. There's just a lot of gray area and just trying to, it's a lot of making lemonade. So it's a lot of lemonade. I mean, there's no real solution for the issues. So anything that you can do to position yourself, even if it's just one iota better, then that's what you do. And that makes for sometimes what may seem like strange bedfellows pause. But that's just what it is. Now, I actually think that what did the most damage, and I'd argue also did damage with respect to this sort of coupling issue and this divestment issue, is actually forced integration. Because even all of the damage that was done through slavery and Jim Crow and everything else you still had basically still intact. You didn't have divestment as a real thing. It wasn't really until.
You know, the interesting thing about this forced integration point that Doc Thunder's bringing up, it wasn't forced on Black people.
No.
I don't know that Black people ever had the National Guard with gun points and what are those, the bayonets, right? They never stood with bayonets at their back going, into the white school. It was only forced on white people, right? And so it's ironic that there is now a Black argument against so-called forced integration, where the white man has always kind of low-key been against forced integration because he was the one being forced, right? Look at how far we've come to now get right back to this point together.
So let me speak to that, because I was having this. It's funny because I in the middle of his sentence, I knew that that's the direction he was going in. And Dr. Thunder owes me a debate. Okay, that's my man, but he's kind of been, bobbing and weaving a little bit. And I'm gonna say that on your show, on the mic. You know how I get down. I'm gonna say this, right? When it comes to this integration thing, right? Now, there's certain things that kind of like you can't avoid being integrated on, and I'm talking about like the system. There's only one government, one courthouse, one president, one. So when you talk about systemic shit, gotta be integrated. Black people at first were asking for separate but equal. They wanted their own shit, but they just wanted to be equal to the white shit, right? And when the white people wouldn't give them that, or they weren't allowed to have that, then it became, oh, let's integrate. There's nothing wrong with integration on the systemic part, but where Black people, because it's like you said, white people didn't ask for integration. Where Black people messed up is when they wanted to sit in restaurants and they wanted to patronize businesses and be where the white people were and intermingle with them beyond the system, right? So then what you're doing is you're fighting for the right to give the white man your money. You're fighting for the right to patronize white businesses and this and that. See, that's the part that nobody wants to talk about. You fighting for the right to give them that while ignoring your Black business, your Black coffee shop, your Black diner, your Black this, your Black that, right? So you can keep it separate.
Well,
like they keep it
it's
separate.
not just ignoring it, Hunter. It's not just ignoring it like you don't shop there every day. But now you have no need to really develop it the way people build something. Like if everybody's getting money, if everybody's on welfare, nobody wants to start a business, right? It's this kind of thing where desperation, what's that saying? Necessity is the mother of invention. Why would you invent something if you can just, go buy it from the white man?
Bro, we had all of that.
You're locked into your own circle. You got to do it for yourself. You got to invent your own thing. So now we had like Black bus companies and all that stuff back in the day.
Did all of that.
And I don't know how economically viable it would be all the way into the future. But the point is, like you said, we actually were building our own parallel systems and networks that would have been under our control. And that would have been a positive thing either way.
Right. But no, so let me say this. We had all of that stuff. All that stuff existed. We even had our own leagues. So what Ice Cube is doing now is not new. Like we had all of this stuff, but Black people wanted to, because the white shit was better. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. Like the white shit was better. So Black people, if they made enough money, they wanted to go to the white shit. Look, check this out, man. I live in Vegas, right? They got 2 Golden Corrals out here. All right. They got one. And shout out to anybody that's in Vegas. And you know what I'm about to say is true. They got 2 buffets out here, Golden Corrals, right? For where my people want to come out here, go to Golden Corral. They got one in the hood.
Hold down for 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right.
No doubt. They got one in the hood. They got one in Henderson, right? Now, Henderson is like the white area. Guess which one I go to? I go to the one in Henderson because it's better. You know what I'm saying? The food gonna be fresher. It's gonna be nicer. It ain't gonna be no drama. So the Black people wanted to go to the white shit because the white people had nicer shit. It just was what it was. So they fought for that right, while also ignoring Black businesses that probably met the same quality standards as white businesses. And that's why to this day you still have Black people that are rather go to the white shit than the Black shit. And the black shit suffers under that. And that's why black businesses are doomed to fail most of the time, because black people would rather do business with white people. So it's what do you say? Oh yeah, absolutely. He says not what it was is what it is. Absolutely correct. So I'm just saying, like, when it comes to that integration, what Hood said, he said, black people weren't forced, white people were forced. That's absolutely correct. It's like when black people move into a neighborhood, they bounce. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that's the part that messed us up. That part, wanting to intermingle and go patronize it and kick it with these people that ain't want you there. They ain't want you there. They still don't want you there. Right? So the other part is, schools and fire department, police department, stuff like that. You have to integrate that stuff or you're going to have problems. The white man might not run into the burning building to save the black person or, the police. And you understand what I'm saying? So you have to integrate the system or you just won't be treated fairly. Period. Right? Now, everything else, fuck them. Go to your own shit.
Now,
Every town. Go ahead.
I think you're actually right. We're not gonna get into the white man may or may not, but I think you're right in the sense that from the municipal, from the what do you call it, the civil level, like and jobs and whatnot, city jobs, that kind of thing. Because this is like what the Irish did with the police department. They kind of locked down police unions and fire department unions and all that, construction unions, whatever. And black folk, for whatever reason, they never attempted to lock things down in that kind of way. They only wanted to just work for the government. And I think there was just something lost over the years. And I'm blaming this on like the shift toward liberalism, where we just sort of wanted to be patrons of the government instead of controlling our own sectors for our own survival. And that's just one of the things I have. This is a criticism.
No, you had the Moors who tried to do it. You had movements that tried to make black shit sovereign, but the white people wouldn't respect it. So like, even if black people had their own police, fire department and stuff like that, I mean, the small hats, I'll say small hats in New York, you already know, you in New York, they got their own everything. But the
Muslims got their own police now too. And so I'm saying that it's not,
Chicago?
Bro. No, in New York City, there is a halal patrol. Like they got it's not a big thing because Williamsburg. It's not just Williamsburg. They got a couple of neighborhoods out there, but like the Muslims got their own little small thing. I've seen the Muslim police thing. It's somewhere like what do you call that neighborhood? It's not far from like between Red Hook and like what's that neighborhood where you call it coming down past Atlantic Avenue? It's that Fifth Avenue.
That's Atlantic. Avenue. Which way? You talking about Carroll
Gardens? No, downtown. Carroll Gardens is that's probably one name for it. I think there's another name for that name.
You talking about before you get to the Red Hook? Before you get to Red Hook, between downtown and Red Hook.
I seen a mosque with Muslim police car. It was like an NYPD police car, but it said something about Muslim neighborhood patrol. I'm like, oh snap, they doing what the Jews do.
Yeah, but that's neighborhood patrol. That's not police. Like they're not gonna give.
That's how it starts, bro. That's how it starts. I'm just telling you. Listen, wait till you see the Mexican police cars,
bro. They're not gonna give category 1 to niggas in that regard. What I'm saying is they're not gonna give them peace officer status. The best they'll be is neighborhood watch, and that's cool. That's cool. But I'm talking about category 1 peace officer status. That's government shit. And in order for them to respect that, they got to hand that down. And that again, that's why I say on a municipal level, shit has to be integrated because you have to be represented, right? So on that standpoint, I can understand why black people would want that, but everything else was bullshit. You did it to yourselves, and that if Dr. Thunder is saying that, I agree with that. But it's not something when he say forced integration. He got to speak from the standpoint of this is what black people actually fought for, got spit in the face and all this other crazy shit. I don't serve nigga pies and shit like that.
Let me finish speaking. We'll see what he says.
Most of the civil rights leaders took that integration money. That you start seeing a lot of these kinds of further cultural kind of consequences. So that's a sort of interesting thing. And that thing that I say frequently, multiculturalism plus a deregulated dating market equals divestment. And I've been saying that for about 3 years now. And
the other one, too,
online.
Real quick, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Compassionate mentioned the other one that you say also, the multiculturalism and I can't remember it. Array. I can't remember how you said it, but how you say it. But go ahead. He made mention of that one also, the multiculturalism and unicultural array or something like that, or multicultural array. I can't remember. But yeah.
Right. It's so how do I say that? Right. It's unicultural and multicultural array. Right. That's actually what we have. That's really
it's
what
a
we
lie.
have.
It's hypocrisy.
Yeah. So you have like.
I don't think Doc is going to go quite in the direction I was thinking when I called it hypocrisy. But you typed something in the chat earlier, 100, about fascism. And
right.
I wanted to point out to you, this is a conversation. I was just doing a sort of monologue show that night, but I was talking about political theory, because Black folk don't really get deep into political theory all that much. It's always about resistance to white oppression, but raw objective political theory is really the thing that you need. Because like, if you kick out the white man, then what? Right? Niggas don't have really a concept of after that. That's why all the Black countries fall apart. So I'm thinking about the issue of liberalism, and I was pointing out how, like, when you mentioned fascism earlier, fascism is a neutral concept. It's neither really right nor left. It's simply an authoritarianism.
Right.
And liberals are authoritarian fascist at their heart. This is what happened. It was all revealed during the lockdowns. With you have to wear a mask, you have to show your papers to go into the restaurant now, have to show your papers to go into the hospital now. Like, that was liberal authoritarian fascism, right? But nobody would ever call it that because we've been brainwashed to see it as a right-wing slur.
Right. What I did say in the chat, I said pot kettle, right? So I agree with you. I think that the extreme side of either party or either ideology is fascist, right? Once you go to the extreme end, right? So now you have to force people into, practicing whatever your politics are, right? Liberalism is supposed to be, hey, if you want to be right wing, go ahead and be right wing. That's liberalism, right? So I understand the right wing portion of it, like, because a lot of this energy is associated with conservatism and right-wing politics, but it's rare to see it called out on the other side, right? To the point where even Bill Maher is calling it out, right? When you were forcing people to see, you using words like cisgender, and you forcing people to see men as women, and I don't know what a girl is and all of this stuff, and then you want to write legislation on it, it becomes fascism. It's just in the other direction. It's no different. You're forcing people to believe what you want to. So yes, it is authoritarianism. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why liberalism as a concept is now being challenged, because that's a lie, bro. Actually, when you think about it, every government is authoritarian and fascist if it really wants to run right. And you kind of maybe need a little bit of that. I'm not going to say go to the extreme, right?
Right. Me neither.
But you do need a government with the authority and the ability to deal with dynamic social problems that may pop up.
Right.
There's no liberal answer to communists taking liberalism to its complete extreme, which is a liberal problem in a nutshell.
I think people need to just be more nuanced. I think every conversation, every topic, every context is nuanced. Like, there's no liberal answer to everything. There's no conservative answer to everything. I see someone in the chat talking about what's wrong with authoritarianism. No, you don't want extreme anything. You don't want extreme anything. If you look, extreme authoritarianism, you don't want it. It sounds good because it's like hood. You from New York like I am. New Yorkers cry for the winter and the summertime, and they cry for the summer and the wintertime. Right? When it's cold outside, you want the heat. When it's hot outside, you want the cold back until the cold come back.
Perhaps.
If we were no, that's a man. Come on, man. You see
No.
people.
Let me make my argument though. This is why I am saying perhaps with complete thoughtfulness here. Right, and let me make my argumentation for right-wing authoritarianism. I don't necessarily know what's extreme at any, just from a random conversation. Like extreme could mean a lot of things. So I'm going to exclude the concept of extreme right now. Like, I'm not saying we just execute every gay who, kisses a boy in public. Like, I'm not going to go that kind of far, right? But I think about something like, all right, let me not talk about Germany, perhaps, but there was a show called The Man in the High Castle. And I've been meaning to watch this show because I noticed it popping up in a lot of like right-wing edits, and it does present a certain aesthetic, right? Things look like they work beautifully and perfectly. And it's like this concept of right-wing authoritarianism done right. Or another great Touchstone movie, what's the thing with the Marines and the bugs and Rico and the Roughnecks? Oh, now all of a sudden the name of the movie escapes me. But somebody type the name of the bug movie in the chat. Help me out here, because all of a sudden I just went dumb. But the movie with the bugs, it was actually written by a sci-fi writer named Heinlein, and he was explaining a sort of right-wing authoritarian Super Troopers. No, I think it wasn't Super Troopers. It was I want to say Star Troopers actually, but he was explaining a sort of right-wing Starship Troopers. Thank you.
I remember that. Yeah.
What the author in his book did was sort of describe the path to a kind of right-wing utopia, if you could even call it that kind of weird hypocrisy term. It's it doesn't fit. It's an oxymoronic term, but it was a functioning, desirable right-wing government, and it was a global government too. And in his novel, he described, all the failures that led him to that conclusion, and that's when they finally got something that worked. But the point of it is that when they came out with the movie of Starship Troopers, the director didn't really understand the right-wing spirit of it. And so he tried to make the movie camp and goofy. It was totally supposed to be a comedic spinoff. And it turned out to be this movie that kind of touches people on a core level. And if you think about it, it was far-right fascism with racial diversity. The movie ended with a fat black woman taking over the command.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't even break the model. It wasn't a joke or nothing. It worked. It wasn't a blink moment or nothing like that. And this is what I mean about, there is an argument to be made about the right-wing authoritarianism. Now, how far you go is debatable, but I don't want to just throw the whole concept out because people are afraid of it because you watched the Disney movie and all you ever learned was, History Channel documentaries.
You ever see the movie Equilibrium?
Equilibrium.
This is
was damn near it was sort of like a Matrix spinoff.
Kind of, sort of, but like it was kind of that authoritarian dystopian thing where
they always show it as a dystopia though. That's what made Starship Troopers work, because that wasn't quite a dystopia, but in most movies they show it as a dystopia, like you just were talking about in Equilibrium.
Right. So, for those who haven't seen the movie, basically it's Christian Bale. They take a drug every day to keep them from having emotions. Because they feel like, emotions is what causes war and all types of other things, right? The gun fu, the gun kata. Yeah. Jay know what I'm talking about. So it's one of them type of things, and then at the end of the day, okay, you get rid of this guy who was running the situation, but even though you saying is dystopian, everybody's getting along. If you think about, other than the people that were like on the outside of it, the rebels, the people who lived underground and they had their paintings and everything that, that made them feel emotion and all of that stuff. The people that lived in the society, there was no issues. So it worked. So even though I understand what you're saying, it's a dystopia, it worked, right? Right. So
this is what made the Starship Trooper universe powerful compared to like the quote dystopia of Equilibrium. You chose to join the Federation as a citizen, right? And so when they're in the class and the teacher Ratchak is explaining that violence is the supreme authority of political authority, violence is the actual source of all political authority. There is no other real source, right? That's why the government has a monopoly on violence. He's got his arm blown off in that scene, right? He's an amputee because it was a point for them to put amputees at like the service. People who are coming into the service, they have to train and do their service, like whatever hours or whatever. It's a point to put them at the front for people to see like your commitment isn't a game, right? And Equilibrium, it's all force. There's no choice. And that's what makes it dystopia. But again, these are just arguments for like a sort of right-wing vision. And the thing that's what makes Starship Troopers such a touchstone kind of movie is that it seems viable in a way that a Equilibrium doesn't.
I don't know if Equilibrium is not viable. I don't know if it's not. I mean,
removing the concept of choice always breeds rebellion. That's kind of what the idea of you can choose to be a citizen or not. You can choose to vote and be a part of this thing. But if you want to be a part of it, you have to actually join. There's a sacrifice. There's a dedication that's demanded of you, as opposed to if I force you to be this thing, it's naturally going to breed rebellion.
Well, if you have a choice, then it's not. It kind of diminishes the authoritarian part of it, or the fascist part of it. Like when it kind of leans toward liberalism when you have the choice, right?
Well, this is why we're talking about debating the extremes now, because nobody would argue that the Starship Troopers is a left-leaning type of universe. Like it's a right-wing, far-right government. Like there's definitely an authoritarian control. They literally whip you as punishment, and nobody, protests. Nobody blinks. It's you get whipped as punishment. So it's not a left-leaning thing, but we're debating the extremes now.
I'm gonna say this before I forget it. The funny thing about the left to me is that they're liberal about everything except for straight masculinity.
Right.
If you think about it, like, they're authoritarian about that. You know what I mean? They're conservative about what men are and what men need to be. They're extremely conservative about that, right?
That's wild, yeah.
But everything else is extreme liberalism, right?
Forced liberalism.
Right. For like when you talk about fascism, right? You got black women who are saying, yo, you can't date out. Like the whole pro-black / keep black men in their race, because black women I don't want to go back to the other conversation, but I just find it interesting, right? And to me, that's a white supremacist talking point that you get from pro-black people. That you're almost protecting white genes. You're not protecting black genes, right? Because the white people, they don't want to mix with black people out of fear of losing their population or their genetics or whatever. Like they're the quote unquote recessive genetic versus the dominant genes. Like they'll fade into blackness as opposed to blackness fading into whiteness. It's impossible. It can't happen. This is science. This is what I tell. Again, certain content.
It could happen. It would take a concerted effort, but never say never. That's why I was trying to tell these niggas on the panel, bro. Never assume things can't get worse, bro. Like don't ever think something can't happen.
It couldn't be organic. It have to be genocidal. Like you can't organically fade black into white. if it's a global impossibility. Like if you look globally,
Why are there white redheaded Mexicans named Canelo?
Oh, because that we talk about that was something that they killed a lot of them guys.
Let's not say it can never happen. I'm not arguing your point, but it was maybe genocidal or whatever. But let's never say never. Is my whole point.
Oh, I understand your point, but that's what I mean. I'm saying it would have to take place under certain pretense. It would have to be a genocidal situation. Like when you talk about conquistadors, they didn't just, tell these guys, "Yo, you can't mix with us, but we can fuck your women." No, they killed these motherfuckers. So now, if they want to do a genocide on black men and only let the black women mix with, maybe, like you said, concerted effort. But again, that'd have to be very concerted, extremely concerted. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying never. I'm saying under the pretense of, oh, you're fucking with white women and we're gonna lose our blackness. Like under that context, hell fucking no, can't happen. That's what these,
I try to keep the language, the F-bomb, to a minimum up here, because I know that's the one profanity that's really kind of like a thing with the algorithm.
Gotcha.
But I want to share a little clip with you here. Let's comment on this for a second. We'll come back to this conversation in a second.
When you think about open borders and illegal immigrants crossing the borders, ultimately you're alluding to it having a detrimental effect on the black community. Is that your way of saying that you felt the left did that to us, that they just disregarded black folks?
Stephen A., they've been giving us the middle finger since I can remember. All the way back from the Ku Klux Klan. They have never supported black people whatsoever. They hoodwinked us into getting us on food stamps and getting us with government assistance, having us to abandon our own success. We had our own bus line. We had our own schools. We had all this stuff. They tricked us into believing that the white man was the cure to our own issues. Okay. They tricked us. And then now look at us, Stephen A. They don't.
We were literally just talking about that very point. But let's keep going.
Our vote. They got our vote hook, line, and sinker. So they're never going to do nothing for us. And when you look at it, they have just secured our vote, and they don't have to do nothing for us. And this is what we've created, Stephen A. We've created an environment where we don't benefit from none of it, because the Democrats don't have to work because they know I already got us. The Republicans don't need to work because they can win without us.
I've been saying that.
Black women voted at 90-some% for Democrats. Stephen A., Donald Trump won in a landslide. You give it 2 more election cycles. Illegal aliens and Hispanics are going to be the majority minority. Therefore, black people can vote 100% for Democrats, and they're not going to have any leverage in the political environment. And I'll tell you this, the Democrats, look at their platform. They want women to have abortions. They don't want, they
That was really the point I wanted to talk about with this clip here.
What part of it? What part of it? He said a few things, because there's
every black elected official in the Democrat Party, especially, because Byron Donalds is on the right, but all the black Democrats are basically running to El Salvador. They're marching with the Mexicans. They're working to get the sanctuary city thing done, and it now is raising a question, right? What's the point of voting for black people if the blacks are just going to vote for the Mexicans? I might as well just vote for a Mexican directly. Like, I'm gonna just go straight to the source. What I'm gonna talk to this nigga middleman for?
But what Tatum is, I ain't always a fan of Tatum, but I'll say this: like, when people are right, they're right. The Mexican population isn't one that's grown organically either. It's because of we importing so many people. And the funny thing is, they talk about the lawfulness of this, that, Donald Trump, and but illegal immigrants, right? So you start there, like, you have to call it what it is, just like you had to call the virus the China virus, right? You got to say that these people are here illegally. So just on that premise alone, it's criminal, right? What they're doing is criminal. So they being treated like criminals, and the way these people are reacting is like they're freedom fighters or something. No, they're not freedom fighters. They're criminals. This is why I tell people I travel,
It's
bro.
even worse. No, they're not criminals, they're conquerors. And I think you need to start to see it in a more stark term. A criminal is somebody that exists within the context of a civilized society, right? Because crime and punishment are a part of civilized society. Conquerors are someone who attempt to take over your civilized society. And this is a different thing entirely.
Well, they all want the American dream, right? Quote unquote, right? I just want to speak to this real quick about what Tatum said. You know, I hate when people use welfare like this is like welfare was only for black, like they only gave black people food stamps and black people welfare, and that's what destroyed black people. And they ain't do that to nobody else. They gave welfare to whoever needed it, right? The difference is this, that they enforced the no man in a home situation with black people. So that is what you like, people getting some sort of like financial aid in the country, right? Is that what destroys a group? The more white people on welfare in America than anything, but they're not dealing with that on, you know, like the things that happen with black people, white people, and other groups of people are not dealing with that because they didn't enforce the same rules upon those people that they enforced upon. So they separated black people with welfare by instituting rules of no man in the home. They wasn't kicking down small hat doors and redneck doors and all that stuff, looking for, you know, Jeff Foxworthy or the redneck to be in the house. And if he was in there, you couldn't get these benefits. They only did that in the hood. So that's what separated black people. Okay. But when it comes to welfare, the women chose the welfare and the food stamps over the men. So that's the difference. But going back to what you were saying, right, in terms of you know, the people coming over here to take over, et cetera, et cetera. Again, black people for some reason believe this nonsense that these people are over here doing stuff that they don't want to do. You know, they chopping sugar cane or they picking blackberries, you know, in these big fields, and they're doing all this stuff while black people are in suit and tie working in these air-conditioned buildings. As if generations of Mexicans come over here to do that. And this is the lie that's told. You know what I'm saying? No, they end up competing for the same contracts and industries that you're competing for. Period. And black people need to see that. They're being lied to.
People, they have a visceral reaction to that. They think that that's wrong. But actually, that would be how you would get out of this issue. You know, and that's what was happening prior when all of the numbers were better. And I'm not even saying to say that you have to be some sort of total separatist, but you would have to focus on the issues in your own community for those issues to actually get repaired. It's one of the reasons why I don't support the way that the Democrats try to address any issue, because they create this huge tent and throw a bunch of stuff that's not related in that tent, and then do some general stuff that can't really do anything, and then also you can't measure it. And it's not like they're going to say, you know what, we've been doing this policy for 10 years. We need to keep our fiscal house in order. We need to pull back the funds, reimagine this, and do something else because we're seeing that the data shows that this doesn't work. That's not what they do. They never do that. They say the reason
they just stole good money after that.
Yeah, they say the reason that this didn't work is because you didn't give us enough money, you didn't let us do it for long enough, and because you guys over there resisted it. And I'm going to tell you right now, now I'm not a fan of the two-party system, but in a two-party system, the way that it works is the other party pushes against you. It doesn't, and it's not really going to matter if what it is that you're saying is a good idea or not. And it's a travesty. It's part of the reason I don't believe in it.
I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit here. Vance is not going to get your DEI program across. He's not going to get your friend. But
I think certain things about, like, say, for instance, JD Vance, I think there's a lot of positives there potentially for some of the things that Black Manosphere talks about. However, once we get across, I think we may start seeing how, well, I don't know how much of this stuff is necessarily for us, but you still got to
JD Vance. JD Vance or anybody like him, because I hope he's a trend of what's coming in the future. But JD Vance is not going to get your DEI program across. He's not going to get your affirmative action program across. And I don't want him to, because that just means Black women get jobs working for the bus company. And so
I don't want any of that stuff either. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So no, but we agree right there. So all I'm saying is we need to kind of approach. We need a new approach. And I don't claim to have all the answers, but I see problems ahead.
No.
Let me
Now, here's where we're
real quick.
Now, hold up, just real quick.
Okay.
Here's where we're different. This is where I disagree, and this is where I tend to disagree, even with certain Black Republicans that have a little bit more nuance and will acknowledge some of the racial stuff. But here's where I disagree with even those. See, all of the stuff that we're talking about, it's all a proxy of white supremacy. Now you might not be able to see it directly. There might not be what we would consider.
Now here's without even getting into what size your hat is. I think the issue that I have with the concept of Black people clinging to white supremacy as a motivation for why things are the way they are. Why would white people put guns at the back of other white people for the sake of Black people?
They've done it. It's happening.
Why though? Why would that be considered white supremacy?
Well, why would what be? No, I'm confused.
Think about, all right, so like when we talk about forced integration, right?
Right.
The concept of forced integration is really captured in a couple of pictures during that whole school integration era, where that was an actual thing in time. That was a moment in time. The National Guard is seen with bayonets at the back of white people so that they don't interfere with Black people going to those schools, right? That's literally what the forced integration problem boiled down to. It was literally done at bayonet point. All right. The National Guard came in with rifles and bayonets. We will stab you and shoot you.
But the school is a system, like I said earlier.
So what is white supremacy about that?
Okay, so you're saying why would they?
Why call it white supremacy?
Well, no. You asked the question, so let me answer. The fact that you got to put bayonets to motherfuckers, right? You got to do it. If there's no bayonets, what happens?
But if white people are doing it to white people for the benefit of Black people.
Yeah, but it's two separate groups of white people. There are white supremacists and there are people who are not. If there are no white supremacists, let me finish it. If there's no people who feel that white people are supreme, then you don't need a bayonet. So let's take another
contextual reality here.
Yeah, let's do that, because that's a very bad one.
Well, we'll talk about one specific example, like in that civil rights context. But let's move it around a bit too. And I can see nothing, but I'm not going to challenge you on your point either. Let's move to, let's say, the immigration thing. Are white people using immigration to destroy white people?
I don't understand the question. To destroy white people? Which white people?
Well, if immigration, look at not just America, but all over the Western world, there is this concept that we have to take in all of the non-white third worlders, right? And that is obviously just because every day there's hundreds and hundreds of people coming in. Not just America. The same thing that's happening at the Mexican border. There's boats moving into, like, I think France and Spain and Italy and Britain. People are coming in like every day. And it's happening all over, right? So the same problem that we are having in America with immigration, Canada right now, I was talking about the Indians earlier. Canada right now is flooded with Indians. Apparently, like you can't go to any Canadian tourist location without seeing a bunch of Indians or something. And so it's like, is this white supremacy? Like being drowned in non-white people, you call that white supremacy?
White people are not a monolith, just like black people aren't. Right? So just like you got bayonet holders, you got people who you got to point bayonets to. You got people who want immigrants here. You got people who don't. Right? So this idea that, okay, if we say white supremacy, that encompasses all white people, is ridiculous for not only black people to say, but for anybody to say. There are white people that, they believe in an ideology that white people are better than or above or supreme. That's what race was founded upon. To say that that doesn't exist. Let me respond to you. To say that doesn't exist is ridiculous. But you also have white people that disagree with that concept, and sometimes these people are in government. That's real. So yeah.
So yeah, let me raise an issue to you like this, right? A country like, say, Ireland, right now, for some reason, the country of Ireland, who never had slaves, never had colonies, they were a slave and they were a colony at one point, right? They are now being like just flooded with a bunch of African migrants, for the sake of diversity. And are they wrong for saying that Ireland should stay an Irish country? And
No.
Irish doesn't mean an African who moved here.
No, I don't.
So they're
I don't
not
see.
wrong for saying.
I don't think that's the same as what white supremacy is, though. That's a nationalist thing, right? So you could say,
But they
look,
want their country to remain supremely white, though.
well, but they are by nature white people. Look, what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, look. It's like me saying I don't want a black Superman. First time I seen Superman, he was a white guy. Not because I don't like niggas, but because inherently, maybe Krypton is all white people, right? They cease to look like Superman if you look like anything else, just like James Bond or anything else. My point is, Ireland is genetically a thing. If you want to preserve that thing, you're not necessarily saying we're superior. You're saying, yo, we want to preserve this thing that we got going on here. And that ain't a problem. I don't see that as a problem. Just like I don't see them doing it anywhere else. Right. So what I'm saying is when my thing is
no. Hold on. Hear this real quick. Ireland is actually superior if it's full of white Irish people. It becomes less of what it is now if it becomes full of black Africans. That is the white supremacist angle to it. Ireland is actually it will be a superior Ireland if it's full of white Irish people.
No, it'll be Ireland. Now, whether it's superior or not is a point of view. But what I'm saying
No,
to you
they'll call it Ireland when all the redheaded, blue-eyed girls are gone, but it won't be as good of an Ireland as it was before.
Again, that's a matter of opinion. My point is,
Well,
you
that's
asked the
also
question.
baked into the nationalist feeling of it, though. It's a matter of opinion for sure, but that is within the national spirit of it. You are destroying what we are, and also destroying the quality of what we are.
We're not saying the same thing. You're making a.
I'm adding.
you're making
No,
a
I
whole
am
different
adding
point.
that. No, I am specifically adding that so it becomes a reality of this conversation, because I don't think we need to leave that out. I think that is a real thing that's in the middle of it all.
Let's go to my example. That's like saying black Superman is inherently worse than white Superman, right? No, it's just that's what it is genetically, right? It's like purebred dogs or something. You don't want a mutt, you want purebred, right? So what I'm saying about Ireland.
Whoa. Are you gonna tell me mutt Ireland is superior to purebred Ireland?
I'm not saying what's superior. That's a word you're
That's the
using.
point.
But I'm saying,
That's literally the point, though.
Bro, you got to let me answer your question.
All right.
What I'm saying is, Mutt Island is genetically different, right? It's like you want to preserve traditions, you want to preserve certain things, right? So to someone, they might see it as better than the alternative, right? But that's not the same. That's not contextually white supremacy. It's not the thing you're calling it, bro. So white supremacy is a totally different thing than wanting to preserve, because any group can want to do what Ireland would want to do. Just like you got your pro-blacks who say, oh, we want to keep it black, right? That's what they say. Now, whether we believe their intentions or motives is a different thing, but you have people who want to preserve shit the way they're used to seeing it. That's not necessarily to say, well, we hate this other group. No, it just means this is what we are, what we do. And like you said, it is irrelevant to sizes of hats, but those people are the same way. Even though they stole their shit from somebody else, right? They're not the original of what they are, right? So, but what I'm saying about Ireland is the definition of WS, the way we use it, is not the thing that you're using in your example. It's not, because Ireland, they're genetically white, but they're a nation of people who look like a certain thing, and they have a certain they have a certain lineage that they want to preserve, and that's not white supremacy.
I want to make this kind of point, comparing Ireland to America in this way.
Mm-hmm.
I think America was a superior America when it was a mostly white country with a black minority population.
When was it ever that before?
Right now, we are a mostly mixed country with a shrinking minority black population.
You know, most of America's coming up story, there was a majority of black people. Remember, they had to import black people at one point. If you look back at like the numbers,
we didn't have to. We decided to. That was a different kind of concept.
No, we didn't do shit. They decided to import people.
No, as America, we didn't have to. It just the country decided to, and then I don't necessarily stand on that decision per se, but it wasn't a we have to thing. Is my real contention.
My point is the white majority thing is relatively a recent thing. If you think about the length of time that America has,
relatively recent. What do you mean?
That's a fact, bro. If you hold on, wait. You can look this up. In the slavery days, think about how many black people you had to bring over here for white people to have a certain amount of workforce.
Do you
compared
understand
to how many white people there was?
Do you understand why the 3/5 compromise actually came into existence? Because the country was a majority white country all the way up until the 60s, bro. Literally up until the 60s.
You saying, hold on. Are you making a statement right now? I just want to get this on record on your stream. You're making a statement that during slavery, there was always a white majority. Are you saying that on your stream?
I'm saying that by American census data, the country was always a majority white country up until the 1960s by the data of the American census, by the records that we keep. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about the 3/5 Amendment, I brought this up for a reason. Within the context of the South, because the South was the heart of American slavery, and American slavery is where all the blacks were. The black people were so densely concentrated in the South,
right,
that they were gonna like tilt the population balance in terms of like you get a representative for each person. Well, are these slaves not people? And it's like, yeah, they're slaves though. So like they're people, but they're slaves. Like it's like, how you gonna count a slave as a voting person?
Bro.
That's literally the conversation of the 3/5 Amendment. And the reason why I bring that up is just to
hold you to this point.
The country was always a majority white country with a black minority that was mostly centered in the South.
You need to take a peek into your comment section, bro. And I'm gonna hold you to this point that you're making right now. Just understand, I'm gonna hold you to this. You better look at what Trey is telling you in that comment section, bro.
It wasn't majority white, and white people didn't show up in mass until the 1890s, he says.
Hey, bro.
Gray area. I'm not gonna stake a point on that. You might have something there.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, so if it was better, let me tell you something, bro. I'm gonna say this, right?
On that though, yeah.
Let me. Nah, we can move on from that. And thank you, Trey, for keeping it real. But let me say this, right? In America, when you look at nations like China, India, Japan, and things like that, where things are homogenous, right? I mean, things are separated by classes, but you know, they're not fighting with each other over who's more Japanese than who, right? When you have that sort of situation, you have more of a situation where the country as a whole can advance. We can all move in the same direction. We can all be one nation. When you got a situation like America where you got different groups of people going at each other's necks over whether it be skin color, nationality, you know, all these differences, that hinders the progression of the entire nation. Just imagine your cures for cancer and other things can come from the population that you don't want involved into the process, right? So you're slowing down the progress of your own country, right? Because again, black people are the Americans. We are the American citizens, just like the white people. But if you hinder, right, even if it's a portion of white people, because I'm not going to say all white people were white supremacists, right? At least I'm not going to say that on here, right? But what I'm saying is at the end of the day, if you handicap a portion of your population that is actually invested in the progress of the nation, like you said, if you handicap these people, you don't know what advances your country might make at the expense of handicapping those people, because you don't know what innovations may be born in certain people that may push. That's why we have to import This is why we have to import people from outside the nation. This is why we have to find the best and the brightest from other places, because those places don't do that. That's one thing they have that we don't. That's one thing that they have that we do not.
Outside of America, what countries do you say are America's main adversaries? Because America's number one. So who's number 2 and 3?
I would have to say China. China.
Okay.
I've been saying that.
How much tech support? How much Indian tech support? How many Mexican gardeners is China importing?
I don't know how that's relevant, but you explain it to me.
It's relevant because they're doing it without saying, I need to import all the smartest people around the world. No, China's saying we have smart people here. We're going to develop and invest in our smart people, and then we're going to actually follow what the smart people do. So they're not using your model.
That's not you misunderstood.
It's just an argument. It's just an argument of models, right? So the model is you say we need to harvest all the smart people from the world, and I'm like, no, the country that's actually attempting to overtake us right now is not using a model of harvesting all the smart people in the world.
That's not what
they don't have to. Smart people. They invest. They don't have to, because have to is not a thing. It's a choice.
Hood, you're throwing my own point back at me like you're saying it and I'm saying something different. My point was those places. They invest in their people. And what we have to do is we have to take from them. You just heard Trump say, hey, look.
Why do we have to?
No, hold on. Because we handicap.
You're
asking me a question.
Why do we have to? I'm sorry. Let me just say this one thing. I'm going to say this one thing and I'm going to give you the full floor. Because when you say have, it implies a deep need. Like we deeply need all of the world's poorest people. And I don't understand why you deeply need that. And so I need you to explain that to me really, really, like on its basic level, why you think we deeply need all of the world's people.
And we don't need all of the world. We need the best from the different places. This is something that the president said, right? Because we're not really building that here. Let me tell you two things that handicap the American population from competing on the level that you're seeing other countries. You said it yourself. You said China invests in their own people. We don't see a great move. And this ain't even a racial argument that I'm making right now because it's bigger than race, right? You got some of your poorest places, right? That got people over there that are the most talented in certain things, you know, relating to tech and other things. Right? They come from these poor places. When you got America, if you can't afford the education, you don't get it. Right? You don't get it. So aside from the racial handicap, you also have the capitalism handicap that says, we're not going to invest in you. You got to have the money to get this education so that you can be a player in the you know, to help us compete with the rest of the world. So what we end up doing is we end up importing people from India. We end up importing people from China and other places, right? We trade them to our team so that they can play for us, as opposed to investing in our own. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why these other places are. That's why these other places are a threat the way that they are in certain industries. That's why we can't impose tariffs, because there's shit that they're doing over there that we're not doing here. There's tech that they have over there that's better than what they have here. I'm sorry.
Well, bro, we can and do impose tariffs as the American country. That's what America does. We impose tariffs. I don't know that any other country imposes tariffs on other countries the way we do. And that only highlights just how much choice America has in terms of what it can and cannot do to, you know, beat its goals. And when I say that, when I ask you to explain to me why is it we have to keep importing all of the third world, I haven't heard a proper answer from you yet.
No,
and this is why I mean it's not a matter of have to, it's not a matter of need, it's a matter of choice. Like, companies can make millions of dollars hiring employees that are American born, but they'd rather make hundreds of millions or maybe $1 billion by hiring a Mexican. That's not a need. That's a choice, right?
You talking about Mexicans? I'm not talking about Mexicans, bro. You're
I'm just making I'm painting a picture. I'm making an argument.
Yeah, you're moving goalposts, bro. So let me ask you this: do you think that America has enough people to compete with some of these other countries in the tech space? Because that's where we're going.
Does it have enough people to compete in the tech space? We are the tech space.
No, do we have? No, I didn't say we weren't. Answer
so yeah, it's a moot point. If you say that,
you got to answer the question as I asked it, bro. You're kind of bobbing and weaving.
Yes, I'm saying yes definitively to your yes or no question. It was a yes or no statement.
Okay,
but
so
I'm also pointing out that we are the tech space. So if you agree with me that we are the tech space, then the question is
no, we're not. No, we're not.
So who's the tech space?
The tech space is on the Eastern Hemisphere, bro. They got shit that we do not have here. I've traveled to Asia, bro.
I'm not
going to argue with you on this.
But okay. How many tech companies want to be in America versus China or Singapore?
Well, they want to be in America because no. You got to let me finish.
We are the tech space.
You got to let me contextualize
the physical tech space,
bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, we're the consumer of tech. We aren't tech. That's why they want to be in America, because that's where the money is. But tech is over there. Okay. Now I want to see somebody in the chat, debunk what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is we are the consumer for that. If we were the opposite, we would be exporting to the degree that they are exporting. Yeah, we can impose tariffs, but you see what's going on with that. So, and this ain't a criticism of Trump. I told you and the other guys on the last Politics as Usual that we did, I understand the sentiment of Donald Trump. It's just that we're not in a position to do that because we let other countries build up their situations on our economy. We let them build that. So now we can't turn the whole ship around in a presidency. It's not gonna happen. But what I'm saying to you is, bro, yeah, we do import talent to America to do certain things because we need to, because we, in many ways, whether it be racially or financially or through capitalism, handicap the advancement of our people to the point where we can compete on a global scale. We do that.
Okay. I tell you
we
what,
definitely do that.
Let's shelf this part of the discussion and move on.
Been even shown that they would stick their neck out for you. They haven't even shown that they would be an ally in any way. It's foolish. It's foolish, and unfortunately, black folks, we're very well. Okay, so this is actually a good thing, but it gets used against us all the time. We tend to invite in and welcome in people hospitable, if people show any sort of affinity for stuff that's black, if they spend any time, you know, I mean, you see this in black bands all the time. You have one or two white musicians, and they're part of the family, just like everybody is, because they showed that they love the culture by perfecting their craft, you know, perfecting black music, right? So that's like the sign that, okay, we can invite them in. But often is the case, just because we're just hospitable, warm, inviting in people, we just tend to be that way. That gets used against us so much.
Well,
It gets
Doc,
used
Doc,
against us so
can I
much.
jump in?
Go ahead.
I don't think it's a good thing at all in the way you describe. And I'm not saying it's a negative thing. Like, I don't want black folk to be even more hostile than our reputation already dictates. But I think that the idea, what you're talking about, I don't think is really real. I think most people are really segregated in their regular lives, right? And what you're really talking about is the false reality of media and the false reality of political theater. And that's where the BIPOC, Black and Brown Coalition is born, and the false reality of political theater, right? And to that degree, the Rainbow Coalition literally exists because we all have to team up against the white man. And so the reason why I jumped back in at this point was to kind of, and I've been listening this whole time. I had to go run an errand real quick, but you've all walked through the very argumentation of why I raised the actual issue of we need to rethink our relationship to the race issue. Because being Democrat, being left wing, being woke, or whatever these things are, it means that we've had to open our culture, our country, our blackness to other groups who have a conception of race that puts us even further to the bottom than fucking white people.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, wait, before you ask that, let me read a couple of super chats. And the Rogers report says no.
Let me get your quick take on that whole idea. So, like, and what I'm thinking about when I say that other ethnicities see us even further to the bottom than white people, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's an actual caste system in a country like India,
right? And
as far as black people are concerned, you don't even register in the Indian caste system. Like, you don't even rank. There's zero, and then there's whatever you niggas is.
Right.
And so, like, and then there's like the whole Latino thing where they kind of have a whole culture of desiring to be lighter. So a group, an ethnicity that simply wants to identify itself as black, like Black Americans do, automatically a negative, you know, El Morenos, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got a lot of names. There's a lot of names for them. And the thing is, I think if you had to cast your lot with among different groups of people, the white people have been probably more charitable to you than the other ethnicities have been or would be. That's just my take on it, seeing what I've seen over the years.
It's almost, I mean, I understand your point, but it's like saying, you know, these rappers that we got right now, you know, like the best one of them, you know, is better than the rest, but they all trash, right? So, like, I understand what you're saying. It's like saying, yo, I'm gonna go with the people that would abuse me the least out of these choices. Y'all hear me say this all the time. Black people don't have friends, right? So now when you say charitable, pardon me, I understand what you're saying, but understand it kind of goes into the point that I was making earlier. Like, this America shit, whether black and white people like it or not, we all in this shit together. And the rise or fall of America is based on, fuck all these other groups, how we get along. Because we're the two parties invested. Right? White people are invested in America. We see it every day, flags and, you know, bandanas and all that shit. Black people are invested in America because they don't have shit else to invest in. This is all you got. You can't go back to Africa. They ain't fucking with you. Pardon me. I keep slipping. But what I'm saying is we have no default. All these other people, they got a default. They can go back to where they came from. Okay, they don't have hundreds of years of ancestry here. They're immigrants. We are not immigrants, right? So I understand relative to white people. Oh, absolutely, right? Absolutely. I mean, you know, like the first thing somebody might say is, well, you know, these other groups of people ain't really have black chattel slaves. And there's an argument to be made there, right? But if we're talking about in 2025, I can't argue with you. Historically, there's a debate, but in 2025, what you're saying is correct. And that's where we live. We live in the present. And I often tell people, look, we got to get out of Egypt. You know, in certain conversations, we got to get out of the past and we got to deal with today. All right, we know what the past is. Like you said, you know, 12 years a slave and this and that and the other. At the end of the day, you know, is the Arabs is the Arabs is what we talking about? Okay, well, I'll get back to Red Illusion, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we living in a 2025 reality, so we got to deal with the present. And if I'm gonna say deal with the present, then I'm gonna run with what you're saying, because nobody else is invested. They're invested in whatever group they belong to, et cetera, et cetera. There's nowhere else for black people to go besides America. And when I say black, I do mean black Americans. I ain't talking about the guy who got here and he black. I'm black too. No, you ain't black too, you know what I'm saying?
I know black. I Dominican. Nah.
Yeah.
No kind of white supremacy. No kind of white supremacy should be asking N-words for anything. Roger say, and Jason Moose said, and Jason Mew says, and I agree with him, by the way. I agree with him 100%. And Jason Mew says, $38 trillion deficit, but the program is blame the non-whites with a special emphasis on black community. I would agree with that. I would agree with that 150%. And that goes for a number of things. Where black folks are supposed to be the fall guys. I guess that's what we are. That's why they say we're like, you know, the punching bag of America, particularly black men, right? But yeah. So that I agree with that 100%. And thank you, Jason Mew, for the super chat, and thank you, the Roger Report, for the super chat. I agree with both of you. And I gotta read the real Roger Report's super chat again. No kind of white supremacy should be asking N-words niggas for nothing, for anything. Go ahead, yo.
It's just a quick question. Like,
niggas really stuck on the white.
If I can assume that, let's just say prejudice. I won't even
say what. Say what?
Okay. But prejudice exists.
Niggas really stuck on the white man
in all aspects, and even in all political systems, whether it be Democrat, Republican, Independent, Conservative, Liberal. So, which direction am I supposed to go as a black person that makes me feel comfortable with these people?
I think. Yeah, it sounds almost like a level of personal comfort that he's speaking to. And I'm not necessarily speaking to a level of personal comfort. I'm talking about big picture things. And so, you know, I'm about to speak right here and answer the question. There's something you want to speak to that real quick, Hunter?
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna have to bounce too because I was supposed to been bounce. But I'm gonna say this,
no,
right?
You got a show coming up, right?
I agree with you in terms of when you say like I forget what I was gonna say. My point of view is that black people got a lot of things coming at them, right? So to only focus, and I think this is the thing I want to agree with you. I feel like, yeah, I feel, motherfucker. Yes, feel. My bad. F-bomb again. How about I say it this way? I think that because there are a multitude of things that black people have to deal with, they can't just focus on the one white thing, right? Does it diminish the white thing? No, but we have to juggle all these things at the same time. We don't have friends. Black people don't have friends. And the one thing black men tend to think, especially conservative black men, is you think because you and the white man see things the same way that means you're friends. No, it might make you allies for a time. It might make you temporary allies. You might be aligned on a certain issue. You might be allied on America. The one thing that black and white people have to be allied on is America. You have to be allied on America. right? But depending on the topic, depending on the issue, you're either going to be aligned or you're not. And when you're not aligned, you got to deal with that, right? Now,
you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
So I think one of the things you're saying is you might have groups of people that are not white people that you have, you know, less aligned with than white people. And that there might be some truth to that, right? These people over here, the biggest thing that we have to align with people over is America. Because again, we're in this ship, and if it crashes, we all die, right? So under that premise, right? Yeah, we need to be aligned. Now, whether our alignment will be accepted, because things have to be reciprocal. It's just like pro-blacks trying to be Pan-African, and the Africans are like, you're not one of us, you're not like us. The same argument could be made for black people trying to align with white people, even though they should doesn't mean they will. But you should align with people who want to align with you. In context to that with these other groups, yeah, you have less in common with those people than with these people. Absolutely. I agree with that. And I think that was one of your biggest points, correct? Am I right? He's gone. I'll even add this. If it was Latino supremacy or Asian supremacy here, I don't think that we'll have a better experience. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think that black people would have.
Do you think China? Well, let me not say China, but like, if America was full of Chinese people, do you think black people would be getting a rougher ride as compared to if America being full of white people?
I mean, who's to say? It could be worse. It could be worse.
That's what I mean. That's what I
right.
Don't ever think it could be worse.
I think that you know, I mean, we could look at Africa as an example, right? We could look at that, but I just think that's how humanity works, right? That's just how humanity works. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that, you know, that we'd have a better experience if these other groups were in charge. No, I don't think so. I can't speak to it because it's not the reality.
And that,
but I don't think
that is the bottom of my logic chain. It starts from there. If I had to choose, because here's the reality: whether you want to be number one or not is irrelevant. The simple fact is, black people don't have the numerical capacity to be number one in this country. We are so far below in terms of demographics.
Right.
And we would have to actually solve that problem before you got to any real conversations about black people being in charge of this, that, and the third. That being said, if it's a battle for number two, then we have to viciously compete against everybody else for the number two spot. We are Afro Samurai with the number two headband, and everybody wants our spot, bro.
No, understood. But what's happening is you got, you know, a group of white people, right? Because again, white people are not a monolith. You got white people that don't want the immigrants, and you got white people that do. So you got a group of white people who would love to flood this place with those people, right?
Perhaps,
for whatever end or to whatever objective, right? Whatever objective, you know, whether they just a hippie and they just like, hey, America for everybody, or they're like, yo, we need these people to come in and replace these people. Whatever the case may be, is not good for black people.
I mean,
it's not.
In keeping with the Afro Samurai theme I just sort of started, the guy with the number one headband, he's not the guy out there trying to ruin our lives. We are in a perpetual battle to achieve the number one headband. But the people that are coming at us every day, trying to lock us out of jobs and chase us, firebomb black people out of neighborhoods and all that, black women getting thrown in vans and trafficked and all that kind of stuff. Those aren't the guy. That's not the number one headband guy. And so I think we need to really reconsider, like I was saying to everybody on the panel here at Mr. Z's channel, you niggas is focused on the wrong kind of battle. Maybe you should just get comfortable in the number 2 position and be willing to wage bloody war on everybody below you, because that's the way it always has been.
So let me ask you this: what do you feel was the argument being thrown to you by this panel?
Well, the argument by this panel is, oh my God, white supremacy. I can't consider of never stopping the fight because white supremacy. And I'm like, listen, white supremacy is not the thing that's going to literally ruin your concept of a black country. I mean, not a country, but a black community, right? Like if it's even within the context of a black America, it's not what you think white supremacy is. Immigration overthrowing, I mean, not overthrowing, but immigration flooding the country cannot be considered white supremacy. And so if black people fight immigration, put us on the side of white people, then we kind of have to get over the idea of white supremacy. We got to defend our square wherever that may land.
Yeah, but you can do 2 things at the same time.
Can you really? Like yeah, that's literally what killed Germany. Can you really though?
Of course you can. I mean, it depends on what one of those things are. Now, in the current moment,
things isn't even real though. One of those things isn't even trying to fight you right now. Like white supremacy is not making up a network where we're only going to hire white people and black people can never get jobs. Like white people literally made laws against other white people so they couldn't do that to you.
No, but low key, they had to make those laws, bro. Low key, so that's the part you're leaving out.
Hold on. Low key, the Latinos, the black Africans, they will do that against you, and you can't fix that by saying I'm fighting white supremacy.
No,
and that's the context of our disagreement with Mr. Z and them.
I get that. So this is what I mean when I say 2 things could be true. Well, I'll say it now. 2 things could be true at the same time, right? White people had to force other white people to hire non-white people, but they had to force them, right? So let's not say that's not real, because one group is doing it, but the other group had to be forced. That's that forced integration you're talking about, right? And now let's get to hold on. So let's you got more than one group of white people, right? But what I'm saying in reference to what you're talking about now, again, that is the current issue. That is definitely the current issue, that for some reason black people think that anything that's non-white is not an issue, right? And that's my issue with black people. With that, it's like, yo, oh, we're ally, we're cool in this and that, and brown and black alliance, because you think because these people are crying oppression and you're crying oppression, right? Then y'all are aligned. It's the same mistake that I mentioned on the other side, where you think because you agree with somebody that you're allies or that you're friends, and it's not the case, or that y'all got similar issues with this group of people over here, right? So, yeah, no, you're not gonna. There's white people making other white people hire black people, but there's no Latinos making other Latinos hire black people. There's no Asians making other Asian people hire black people. Right. So understand, bro, there's things that you're saying that I differ on, but then there's the greater point that I agree with you with. You don't have that. You don't have whether it be Mexicans or Colombians or Cubans in Cuban areas making the Cuban restaurant hire a nigga. That doesn't exist. So you got that. I'm not going, bro. I'm not the liberal guy. I just want you to understand. This shit just got to make sense to me. That is 100%. That is 100%. So in 2025, yeah, that's less of an issue. You're talking about when you talk about white supremacy. That's less of an issue than people coming over here and becoming so strong with their numbers to the point where if you can't speak their language, you can't work in your country that you're invested in. With all this hundreds of years of I've been a slave and Jim Crow and this and that. Now you can't get a job unless you speak Spanish. That's an issue, bro, because nobody's making them. do nothing. Now they got some lawsuits coming. Oh, racial discrimination. So now what you're going to be dealing with is Latino supremacy, Hispanic supremacy. That's going to be the new shit that black people going to be dealing with, right? But we were alive. We had a coalition. We were together because the white man. So I get that point. Trust me.
Let me ask you a question. Look at the political realism of this problem. If black people want to sue against Latino people for racial discrimination, who do you really think our allies are going to have to be? Come on, say it out loud.
Nah, look,
you know
the system, the white system. White
no. Who?
What? That's not the answer.
Just say it. White people.
Hey, bro. Who? What you want me to say? You want me to say a different word?
That's
white people?
Yeah, okay. I was hoping we were going to maintain consistency. That's all. Thank you very much. Because that's literally the point I'm trying to make. Like, so the black people always accuse certain black people of like cooning and white supremacy because, you know, you did these things. You did the right thing. You made these choices that made you like white people, right? And now we have entire nations of non-white people, also non-black, by the way, who are like, well, if you don't let me take over your country, well, that means you're like the racist white man. You know what? I'm a racist American nigga. That's what that is. I'm a racist American nigga. It's me and the racist white man, and we're both gonna kick you the fuck out of here. Pardon my French, but you know, I'm allowed.
Listen, right. Listen, Hood, this is the thing, right? It'll be the same white people that had to hold the bayonets that'll make the Hispanics hire black people, if they even do that, right? So what I'm saying is, again, those are the nuances that have to. We can't just attribute the benevolence of a group of white people to all white people, just like you can't attribute, you know, gang culture and gang murders to all black people, right? So there will be a group of white people who will say, hey, Mexicans or Latinos or whoever, it's wrong to discriminate against these black people. First of all, I'm of the belief that why do you even want to work there? They're not the system. Again, that's us doing the sit-ins again, right?
Because if you live in a small town in the middle of nowhere, like, you know, people be locked into wherever they're born for the most part. So like you kind of have to work where the jobs are. And so it does create a real problem.
I hear you, but I at least in 2025, I mean, can somebody tell me an industry that they got on lock that we can't enter? Like look, I'm not claiming to know, but what industry?
I'm not going to say a complete industry, but there are definitely corners and pockets of like the hotel, the construction, a lot of service industry jobs.
Those are jobs, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. Jobs is one. Look, I live in Vegas, bro.
People have a job. No.
I get it.
Don't shit on jobs.
No, I'm not shitting. I'm not shitting on jobs. Look, if you in Vegas, right? 9 times out of 10, you want to work in one of these casinos, it will benefit you to speak Spanish. I live in a place where that's a reality, right? But what I'm saying is, right, yo, you don't have to work at a casino. So if those people got that locked down,
my son, my kids are in Brooklyn, and it's better for him, even in a city like Brooklyn, if he speaks Spanish to get a job at McDonald's.
Right. I get that.
So it's not right. It's not right. It's not right. And this is the thing that makes Black America sound like white America back in the day. And all I'm saying is, yeah, lean into it.
Yo, but this is the contradiction to me. It's like, okay, it's not right that you have to speak Spanish to work at McDonald's, and I agree with that. But then if somebody complain about I can't get a job at the McDonald's because I got to speak Spanish, then it's like, well, why you want to work at McDonald's? Why you got to work with them?
Because
this and this.
You
said because what?
He's 16. He's
no. I get it.
Maybe he's 40 years old and his wife just left him and he really needs a job.
Bro, I agree with you. But what kills me sometimes is niggas be like, well, why you can't just do this or pull yourself up by your bootstraps or some stupid shit like that. At the end of the day, I agree with you, right? Again, I'm from New York like you are, and I live out here and I see how this shit run, right? So I get that. I'm of the belief, get these motherfuckers out of here. That's what I'm a belief of, right? I just did a video called Killmonger Energy, and I'm gonna do a second one tomorrow where I talk about the same thing. I don't even limit it to just Hispanics, and I'm gonna say that. In my opinion, I don't look non-white, these people from other places, yo, you don't like us at all anyway. So I'm not fighting for nobody to stay here that they can't stand us anyway. Yeah, we ain't allies, we ain't got nothing in common, we ain't cool, you ain't hiring us, you don't want us in your areas, you don't want us with your women. I don't care if you get thrown out, because a lot of these people are using the right wing to throw in our face anyway, because they see us as liberal. Right, so
I'm with you in that, right? Like
right.
I didn't include a particular group because I got a personal beef with the Jeets, but we got a truce right now, so I didn't include them in this show tonight. But I do not make it particular to any one race or not race, but nationality or ethnicity.
No, I got you.
It's an American nationalism thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and again, Black America, we own the blood and soil argument the same way white people can claim it. And we are the only people, though. It's really just us, because we actually technically, we had to, kill a lot of y'all or make this American thing happen. Buffalo Soldiers killed a lot of engines, and I'm okay with that.
But yeah, man, look, again, I agree with you on the issue, when you talk about white people versus the others, right? I mean, there's really no way around it. If these guys were trying to debate against that, I mean, this is Mr. Z, that's his channel. I thought you were having a live when I came in here. I didn't know you were reacting to something, but if that's the argument, right?
It's a mixture of, I was reacting to his show. I still got tons of videos I didn't even pull up yet. But yeah, I had to bring this up to highlight the point that this conversation, you see how you and I kind of low-key agree, even if we battle on little nitpicky issues, but we agree that it's not just a race issue the way it was maybe in the King era and the Malcolm era, right? We are well past that. And so I don't begrudge guys having their racial grudges and whatnot, but I'm like, bro, I don't think that's the problem right now. It's not critical.
Right. I don't think it's at the forefront. You got to deal with the devil in front of you. You know what I'm saying? And right now, the devil in front of you is this. So that's why I say, well, in 2025, you got people talking about, well, when airplanes were built. No, we ain't talking about that. I think at this point, it should be acknowledged that we're having a present time argument. We could talk about what happened back in the day on another day. We go back and forth with white people about what happened and chains and whips and all of that shit. But today, this is the current issue. So I'm in agreement with that. And if the guys on the panel were saying something different or they're opposed to that, then they tripping. That's my position on it. Period.
Well, you haven't listened to the conversation, so it's not a real pure critique of what they said. But and again, when I started the show, I actually gave them a lot of props, and I enjoyed the conversation I had with them very much, because even though we kind of disagree, it was a great disagreement, which is really rare for niggas. You know what I mean?
Listen, right now, my current song is Ice Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice, man. I've been posting that on Facebook and anywhere else I can post it. And whoever get mad, man. That's where I'm at with it, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, man, for whatever reason, it could be about jobs or it could be about basically these people been talking shit on niggas forever. Don't be our friends now. All this alliance, no, it wasn't none of that. You know what I mean? And these are things we know. These are things we know. So, look. Me, you, anybody.
No, I'm sorry.
No, play that again.
I'm sorry. Finish your thought. I want to get back to this, but finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm gonna have to bounce, man, because I got to get out in these streets. But yo, check it out. All I'm saying is, regardless of what white people disagree on or black people amongst themselves disagree on, we invested in this. There ain't nothing else. There's nowhere for the American white folks and for the American black people. Like, if this don't work, that's it. There's nowhere to go. Like everybody else with everybody else with a green card could go back somewhere. They can go back to where they came from. And to be honest, you hear them talk, they swear that it's so great over there where they left, where they couldn't get their situation right. They had to run away from to come here and complain about what's going on here and the people here. And knock it off. If you got an issue, go back. You can go back to where you came from. But we invested in this, man. So, you know, it would be more advantageous to black people and white people to make it happen. Period.
Well, look,
That's it.
I tell you what. You wanted to do politics as usual, part 3. We low key did a version of that right now, and this is a great show. I mean, a great conversation we just had. If you give me a little heads up, I'm available most evenings because I typically work early in the morning. So if you give me a heads up, I'll make sure I keep the evening open for you, and I'll try to be available if you can organize a show, and I'll be around for it.
Yeah, no doubt. I kicked it with Tito. I'm gonna get. I want the same panel, probably plus a few more people. I'll see if I can get Doc Thunder on there. I can see if I can get a few other people. Hey, look, your people want me up out of here so you can react to this. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let y'all get back to the tap dances and all of that. No, I'm fucking with y'all. But anyway, yo, I'm out of here, man.
Great. It was great, man. I appreciate
it. Peace out, man. Peace out.
All right, later, bro.
Holla.
It was quiet because when he asked the question, you know what I saw? Darkness. That's what I saw.
Not really. I mean, I can tell you, like, it was directed at somebody.
That was what I saw when he asked that question.
Well, let me go back a few seconds. I got to get to the question he's responded to.
Wait. What's happening, Ed? Ed is right. What's going on, Ed? Ed is right, but still that quiet because usually somebody asks a question, you're right, and it'd be directed.
Conservative liberal. If I can assume that, let's just say prejudice. I won't even say racism, but prejudice exists in America in all aspects, and even in all political systems, whether it be Democrat, Republican, Independent, Conservative, Liberal. So which direction am I supposed to go as a black person that makes me feel comfortable with these people?
I think one, that's a bit of a personal thing. Like you gotta,
Wait.
Honestly, it wasn't even all that long of a pause, if we're gonna be honest. Let's keep it a buck. It wasn't that long. It was a good question though, and I like the question because this is the mind frame of black people who are attempting to approach the issue. It's like, so all right, well, which way should I go to be comfortable with these racist people?
America in all aspects, and even in all political systems, whether it be Democrat, Republican, Independent, Conservative, Liberal. So which direction am I supposed to go as a black person that makes me feel comfortable with these people?
I think one, that's a bit of a personal thing. Like you gotta,
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. Conservative. I'm gonna let you. I promise you, I'm gonna let you go. I just wanted to enjoy the silence after LAR asked that question because it got quiet. I ain't hear nobody say shit. After LAR
jumped in. I always jump in the fire, bro. I always jump in.
Hey, LAR asked that question, and the shit was quiet for like a good 3 seconds.
It was quiet. You misinterpreted why it was quiet. It was quiet because it was directed at Hood Conservative because he made the statement. But
and I had a feeling.
Wait. What's happening, Ed? Ed is right. What's going on, Ed? Ed is right, but still that quiet because usually somebody asks a question, you're right, and it'd be directed.
It was quiet because when he asked the question, you know what I saw? Darkness. That's what I saw.
Not really. I mean, I can tell you, like, it was directed at somebody.
That was what I saw. When he asked that question, I could not visualize any scenario. I saw nothing but darkness.
Well, let me make an attempt. Let me at least make an attempt because I'm kind of I introduced a lot of this stuff. And by the way,
the fact that you're saying make an attempt and don't have an answer you're confident in speaks volumes. I just want to say that up front, but go ahead.
Well, nah, because I know the audience, and I was literally about to say shout out to Mr. Z, because I know I introduced like really radical ideas, because I make no secret of it. I really explore.
Wait. Oh, thank you, LAR.
I don't mean left wing radical. I mean, this is like a
right
thing. Like, can you be a Black American nationalist? That's a right wing thing.
No, it may be a right wing thing, but it's not radical. It's not radical. It's actually a very old idea.
I don't know if niggas really talking like this. That's why I wanted to say I actually.
Wait.
Let me fast forward to this.
Countervailing.
You're not the first black person.
Countervailing.
Look, you're not the first black person who comes off with the low key. If we do things the white Republican way, we'll be just great, black people. You're not the first. You're probably about the thousandth.
How many niggas does it take for niggas to get the right idea? So I'm 1,000. So maybe it takes 1,001. That's why I had to have a son. I kept humping until I had a boy, because he got to be the one. Because it takes 1,001 apparently. Like 1,000 niggas ain't enough. Maybe 1,001 is gonna do it.
You're not the
well, I don't know what the black way means, and the black way been losing. So I think we should be willing to reconsider.
I want you to hear his answer. Getting away.
My answer. Wait. Let's do this. Go ahead, conservative, and then we got that. Go ahead, conservative.
My answer is back to the original proposition. We have to be willing to rethink our approach to the race thing, because not only do we have something like the Mexicans, we got a bunch of Indians running into this country, and none of them are going to support your black initiatives, but you allegedly need a coalition of non-black people to help you. So what do? We invited all the non-black people who hate niggas more than white people over here, and I'm like, if I have to choose between the non-black people who hate niggas more than white people versus the white people, it's obvious where I'm gonna side with.
So wait, Andrew, let me say 1 second. I don't think people disagree with you as much as you think they do, because Black Guru made your argument before the election. So more people agree with that particular assessment. I'm not talking about anything else. That particular assessment right there, more people would agree with you on that in particular than I think you would believe, particularly on this channel. Go ahead.
You know what fucking annoys me about this, and I am fucking annoyed already. Number one, like
made Ed.
I know this is your panel, Mrs. Z. I swear to fucking God, this is ran by some open fucking intersectional feminists. Like goddamn, like everything means everything and nothing means nothing. I don't hear pragmatism. I haven't heard pragmatism. Like, I've been listening to this for about an hour, and I haven't heard pragmatism that drives this stuff. Like, this stuff is not complicated. Even what you said, like, the problem is not that, basically white people, these Hispanics are fucking around and finding out. And it's not about siding with anybody. Standing out is not about siding with anybody. And I'm not necessarily on the Democrats are just another side of white supremacy. Liberalism is white supremacy. I don't separate liberalism and conservative. It's all ice cream. And we're in Neapolitan ice cream.
I agree.
It's not so when I hear people always going on the left and the right, it's like, yo, and this is not directed at one person, because there was a lot of people that's been talking. Yo, fuck you and your ideology. Like I'm like anybody, a lot of people that I heard talking, and I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of jumping in and out because I was getting some fucking city barbecue. They took fucking forever, because people decided to give a fuck about fathers, which is some new shit. But anyway, my point is, people need to check their fucking ideology at the door. Like, y'all have no idea how much I want to tell some of y'all on the left and on the right. Shut the fuck up and take your ideology. Take your fucking shoes off when you come in the house. A lot of folks are driven by, and this is true on this, whether it's FD Signifier, whether it's Anton. And one thing I'll give Anton a little bit credit is Anton is better about cloaking his stuff in pragmatism.
El Kabong says, I've noticed that all black panels never stay on topic. This is a problem. This is why I've kind of decided to. I don't want to do a panel show every night. If I do 7 shows a night, I'm going to do 1 or 2 panels, because I mean, not a night. If I do 7 shows a week, if I do a show every day, every week, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 panels, because it breaks the actual topic of what the show is about to be about, because niggas start to wander off and all kind of random discussion tangents. And I'm not sure what Ed's point is right now.
Which is why a lot of people don't call him out on the coon and shit. Like, he can get away, he can get more further mileage out of it than like an FD signifier, where it ain't nothing pragmatic about nothing he fucking says. Which is why when I listen to other people that listen to him, reacted to him, they get the same frustration I get. I know a lot of y'all are smart. Y'all got we got different black people on here that are from different regions of the country, different ages. Some got kids, some got grandkids. So they raised kids to adulthood. I don't have kids. We got dudes of different shades. So I don't know if y'all are mixing up. Some of them are not. Some of them are FBA, not FBA first gen. We all have an ideology. We all have like things that kind of drive it. But we have to. The thing about the manosphere. And I'm not trying to wag fingers. I'm just saying we got to root this stuff in pragmatism. So at the end of the day, the Hispanics don't fuck with us as a group. Our problem, and I blame this mainly on the females, but you niggas that let Hispanic women call you a nigga because you want to get some pussy, you a bitch ass nigga to me. If anybody gets mad about it, I'm sorry, but I'm standing on that. Because I don't let none of them hoes call me that. I don't give a fuck about how much they sucking my dick or whatever. And that's a New York and LA thing, by the way. My point is,
Miami low key.
Yeah, they don't fuck with us. And at the end of it, it's the same thing with the white boys. The white boys, you got exceptions, but overall, there's a competitive issue. Racism is spoken about because even if you say, okay, let's pretend racism doesn't exist. Racism is rooted in resource competition. It is rooted in human nature. This is why black people have such a hard time with it, because in Africa, we weren't resource destitute like that. That's also what fucked the Indians up too, other than the flu. They believe the land belongs to everybody.
You know, I kind of spoke to this. Black people's explanation of blacks in Africa. You know, we didn't have to develop all the things white people developed, because, you know, fruit just grew from trees. We could just eat right off the land. That is really not how it works, bro. But we were still kings, though.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was kings. We was kings!
Versus you're dealing with people that they come from the winter. It is what it is. And I'm not even trying to say that white people are necessarily bad, but at the end of the day, it's a competitive thing. And my thing is, the problem that I have, and I'm gonna land it at this point. The problem I have, and I'm gonna bring it back to like the red pill, like why don't black people and white men, when we have common things, we work together? It's not black men's problem. It's white people's problem. White people have this irrational fear that we and black American men have the ability.
White people are not constantly campaigning against black people, though. White people are not constantly making racial accusations against black people. So I do think it's really on black America to just sort of put our energies into something else for a while. You know, try a few other things. You know, we can come back to fighting the race war if you want, but like, let's try some other hobbies, and maybe something else will stick to. Maybe you'll figure out that you actually like other things.
Really genetically annihilate them, even though we don't have the numbers. White women are the largest demographic. We are one of the smallest demographics. Black men and white men are not linking up as much as people say. Yet white men have this, and even white SWP did a video where a white woman even brought this up. They have an irrational fear. We can get black men off the pro-black stuff if we can get like family reform on the table, child support reform on the table. We can agree on those things. That's not necessarily. It's not necessarily going to mean that they're going to all of a sudden believe racism is not real. But when people sit here and try to say the dudes need to act like that white people are not white and they don't operate like they've always been, so we can get some shit done, it's more in their best interest to work with us than it's in our best interest to work with them. They have more to lose. We've been where we at. They just now fucking around and finding out.
And just like a lot of other black people, we constantly overvalue our position in the grand scheme of things. Like, I promise you, if all the black people in America just disappeared overnight in a Thanos snap, America would get along just fine.
So
I don't think we should ever say it can't get worse, Ed. Never think it can't get worse, bro. That's a folly.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Like I said, these non-black groups don't have their concept of racism and race doesn't even apply to what's been going on in America.
So here's what. Hold on.
So the idea of white guilt doesn't apply.
Wait, everyone. Wait. Ed, because y'all got me looking like a crazy person right now. Okay, so let's do this. Ed, go ahead and finish that, and then you got to hook service. Go ahead.
These other groups, like, let me tell you something. From a kill us and take us out standpoint, white people are only people that's even a factor. Hispanics are not a factor when it comes.
They're the only one. You really think kill us and take us out is on white people's agenda? Niggas have the worst dreams, bro. I swear. Niggas really think white people dream about killing us all and taking us out. As if they didn't have the most means and opportunity for the last couple hundred years when they had all the numbers and the leverage. Ones who wouldn't do it, though.
No. White people are only people that's even a factor. Hispanics are not a factor when it comes.
They're the only ones who wouldn't do it, though.
No.
Eat you alive. I promise you. You're talking about the literal jungle, bro.
Stop. When it comes to the military and all of that, that's why.
See, Ed doesn't seem to get what I'm talking about. As much as we might have some little racial issues with white people in America, would you rather be ruled by the people of the jungle?
And I said it from the start, this is advanced darkness. This is Heart of Darkness. This is the jungle drum. This is the fertility goddess of chaos. They're literally going to eat your balls. They're going to cut your fucking nuts off and eat them.
Whoa, what? They're gonna what?
Standpoint, white people are only people that's even a factor. Hispanics are not a factor when it comes.
They're the only ones who wouldn't do it, though.
No.
Eat you alive. I promise you. You're talking about the literal jungle, bro.
Stop. When it comes to the military and all of that, that's white people. Everybody else ain't about it like that. Like
Ed, wait. Conservative. I promise you got it afterward. Let Ed land. I promise you.
They are not like we don't have no Jim Crow with any other group. They are not about it like that when it comes down to it. So my point, like, it really.
Ed is Ed thinks about Jim Crow, and I'm thinking about the Hutus and the Tutsis, right? Not even the Hutus and the Tutsis. Remember when I showed you the Africa Adios documentary? Back then they were called the Watusis and the Mahutus or something like that. But that beef, they have been trying to mutually genocide one another since forever, and they don't even have guns. I just totally lost the clip. Hold on, I gotta find. All right, we got it back. We need to rethink our relationship to the race issue because it's about
confident in speaks volumes. I just want to say that up front, but go ahead. Listen to other people that listen to him, reacted to him, they get the same frustration I get. I know a lot of y'all are smart. Y'all understand whether it's Indians, like Vivek found that out the hard.
About racism doesn't address that. That's a unique problem.
Well, yeah, well, our issue, these non-black, these non-black, the reason why, like, that's a black woman problem. At the end of the day, our shit is split because we have this gender bullshit, and we have this gender bullshit because black women pretty much have opted out of wanting to be black for the most part. So so what happens is because none of these other groups have these internal battles to this level. And that's so so no, pro-blackism doesn't address that. And that's why pro-blackism can't mean shit, because they're not willing to do what they need to do to actually even begin to get stuff in order. But see, the problem is what you do, hood conservative, is you basically you keep talking around it. At the end of the day,
come on, don't get me bad guy.
Just say that you want black people to pretend that racism doesn't exist in a figment of our imagination, so we know where you're coming from. But you try to talk.
I want us to put it down our list of priorities. I want us to put it lower at our list of priorities because ultimately we've won a lot legislatively. I don't know what specifically we can do legislatively to gain the racial gains that you desire, because it seemed to be an internal problem, like you just said. And so from a legislative standpoint, I don't know how far we can go. But we can go farther on other issues.
This is so fucking This is literally like this is like talking to FD almost.
I know.
Here's
the flaw. Here's the flaw in your logic. Let's just say
this nigga really just called me FD signifier, bro. Like those basically fighting words. Nigga really just said that. It's like talking to FD signifier. Really, bro? Me of all people?
But I want to address this simping allegation. Do I simp for black women? Yes. I love black women. I don't like y'all niggas. This is an easy decision to make. Sorry.
That's just nasty, bro. Nasty work. You know, I had a couple of super chats I didn't shout out. KMS with the $2. He said, respect your content, hashtag thinking black men, hashtag discourse. And another $2 super chat, he says, black women want white women benefits, sans white women burdens. That is literally the issue at hand here. But Ed had the nerve to call me FD signifier, bro. That's how you know he tripping. And this is the thing. I'm raising an argument that it's like he cannot logically contend with, because I don't know that I've been proven quite wrong. They just don't like the discomfort of the direction that I'm forced to go, because all the other options don't really satisfy the logic that I put forward.
Hypothetically speaking, we put racism, lower on our list of priorities. That doesn't mean white people are not gonna keep racism where it's at.
And LAR, what makes it so funny is I literally
But where is it at though? Is it like 1935 Jim Crow levels? Like, what do you mean where it's at? I mean, shit, you can't turn on your TV without seeing a fat black woman. Like, where is the racism? Everywhere I go, niggas got money. Niggas got money, cars, houses, white women. Niggas got everything niggas ever wanted, bro. Literally, money, cars, houses, and white women. Niggas literally have everything that niggas have ever wanted in America right now. And I don't know what more you can ask for. Like, niggas got it. We have it all, bro.
When I die, I'ma go to Snow Bunny Heaven. Snow Bunny Heaven.
I said that before in a different way. What did I say? If we were making a push for family court reform, child support, by the way, white men, because white men deal with this shit. White women are way more effective at liquidating money out of white men than black women are with black men. They got more money to do it, and pound for pound, they're better at it. So this is not something that does not affect white men, by the way. And so I said that like maybe 10 minutes ago, where I said, it's not the black men
that are further down to fall. I understood what you were saying, Ed.
It's the white men that's going to be the problem. Because here's the thing. What white men want us to do is essentially operate like intersectional femme, like black women. They want us to be the trash dummy. And I'm like, I'd rather the shit burn because they have more to lose than we do. So if they're that suicidal, when geopolitically they have been, they have been outmaneuvered. The only reason why America even has a coach.
You know, see, the issue I have with guys like Ed, when he says things like, well, white men want us to do this and white men want us to do that, I would give it a lot more credence if he actually showed evidence, right? Because you realize, see, and I'm subscribed to Ed. You know, Ed is like the homie kind of, so I'm not like beefing with him in this sense, but like niggas really have this idea in their minds like white people are lurking in every bush, hiding around every corner, waiting to surprise them with racism. And if you really have evidence of white people talking like that, then play the video, Ed. Just play the video so it can be there so I can know what you're referring to. Like if you're accusing white guys in the white manosphere of having some kind of racist ulterior motive, play the video so we can all comment on it and know what you're talking about. But outside of that, niggas just really be imagining white guys constantly talking about them. And it really does start to boil down to something like a feminine behavior. Like, you really think I'm talking about you all the time? Like, that's what chicks do, bro. You really sitting there thinking I'm sitting over here thinking about you. Like, we got to stop that.
Most of a chance is because India doesn't necessarily want to be, India don't want to be Russia. They don't want to be under the thumb of China. They have their own, like, you know, their own center of gravity, and they're basically doing what Erdogan and Turkey does. They're playing both sides, and they need America to still exist and be strong because that keeps, and China is right up on their border, and China can beat their ass and war.
Well, and no, it's both. Wait. So Ed is right. I would also add Pakistan in the mix too, even though they don't have nearly the military. So yes, I agree with Ed. India is a very unique situation because they're pretty much put in a pincer move without America. Plus Pakistan is on one side with the skirmishes, and then China's on the other side.
Work with Pakistan in order to make a deal in order to deal with that. Yeah. So my point is, even that's coming back to how that informs us. That's why you see a lot with the Indians, but coming here and what they're able to do, but there's still a small number anyway. So with the Hispanics, again, the Hispanics are racially confused. Fuck them.
I want to jump in.
You know, and I don't really care. I don't care.
Wait, everyone. Wait, PhD. We got PhD privilege also. I think that was Dr. Thunder that said he wanted to jump in. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, you know, I Ed, you know, I take your criticism because I think that there's a tendency for people to get in their sort of theoretical camps, and then you're not actually having a conversation. So then it's talking points rather than actual the conversation, and the argument's not going to move anywhere because you're not really listening to each other. I will say that it's not possible to just be pragmatic, because even pragmatism has an underlining theory. you have to understand where you're going and what the issues are, and largely that stuff is worked out in is you develop theories and understandings of the nature of reality before you can actually have those pragmatic conversations. I think some of these conversations have been the same conversations over and over, and that can get tiresome. But anyhow, I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, I appreciate that.
Wait. And let me say this to Doc. It could get y'all. It could get tiresome for everybody else, but apparently not Z, because this is what I do. I don't know. That might be put in a sideboard or something.
This is what I wanted. This is why I wanted.
Well, it's not tiresome. It's not tiresome for me either. I'm just saying, but for the listener, and I think.
But the issue.
Go.
I wanted to pose a question.
Wait. Real quick. Let's let Conservative. He got to jump on you, and then Ed. Conservative and then Ed.
You mentioned a minute ago about Let It Burn, and I'm in the Let It Burn camp to a degree, but I'm also willing to deal. And what is your counter to Let It Burn? Like, do you have a counter to Let It Burn?
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm being very clear. I'm not talking forever.
I don't know. It seemed like the question triggered Ed a little bit, but why is that a triggering question? Like, is Let It Burn your only offer? I'm in the Let It Burn camp to a degree, but I'm also willing to deal. And what is your counter to Let It Burn? Like, do you have a counter to Let It Burn?
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm being very clear. I'm not talking forever. So it's very clear you're not listening to what I'm saying unless it's something there's something you already are on. Because I'm starting to repeat.
I'm saying Let It Burn is like flipping the table over, but short of flipping the table over, what is your ask?
Look. So let me ask you. So as far as what Dr. Thunder is saying, I understand what Dr. Thunder is saying, and I agree with that to a certain extent. But black people black men in particular, because we're the ones who got to move the stuff, have a problem that like to get lost in theory. That we have a bad habit of that. Now, people that are academics, that's what y'all do. That's what academics do. That's the trade of what you all do. So I'm not really talking about that necessarily, because that's within the field of what you're supposed to do. I'm talking about people that's supposed to be practical. People that it's really not their job to be on the theory train. They'll get lost in some of the goofiest stuff. We talk about hip hop entertainment and Diddy and all that, and we'll get lost in that when men are supposed to do shit. And so there are people that their role is, and I'm not going to say they got to be academic, but their role is the theory craft. And then there's people that they're supposed to come at it from a more blue collar, pragmatic. This is how we take that and make that work. What you have, but and the reason why this annoys me is because you have a lot of people that they're trying to have this endless cycle of convincing people to their point of view when their point of view is wrong. And they kind of low-key know it's wrong. And this is not just like hood conservative. This is also for the FDs of the world. You got people that is really borderline propaganda, is borderline time wasting. It has nothing to do with actually affecting better outcomes. That some of these people may believe it does, but it doesn't. And this is why a lot of these conversations become circular and endless, because it's not because it gets to the point where we're speaking in ambiguous language. We're never like, dudes are not really homing in on this is what I think and why. Damn what people got to say. I'll give you an example.
That's why I asked the question though. Short of
wait. Conservative, let Ed land with that, and then you got it.
I said on somebody asked me, I said you have to be willing to do what you're willing to do to move the outcome, even if you think it's morally fucked up. And some of y'all got to get over that. But even though there's limits, somebody told me, what do I mean by say this in a Discord? Not my Discord, but another Discord. I said that, give you an example. I think it's to the front that Chinese people sell fried chicken in Chinese restaurants. I personally think that is how you know that black people really should not be buying Chinese food. We need to learn how to make that shit and learn how to create companies around that shit. Anybody, and here's why. Anybody that does not fuck with us, we need to stop fucking with them economically. Is it practical to do that with white people? No. So, but before we even start to look at the white ice is colder, we got a lot of other stuff we can do before that. My point is, I said that I would even be willing to spread a rumor saying that basically all Chinese food is really dog and cat, because black people already low-key believe that. And then
you see, this is what somebody was talking about earlier when niggas get on a black panel and start talking all in crazy different directions. I don't even know what Ed talking about no more, man. Trying to keep these niggas focused, man. That's why I said I'm the lion tamer, really, bro. You got to keep these niggas.
And we create a Panda Express and let them motherfuckers know. Hold on, when that Panda Express is coming, that we coming for the businesses there because we're coming for our money, which is the money that our people spend. The only thing black people don't really know how to make is the rice. So you start with a hibachi restaurant first. You see other groups doing this. It's not just Asians who do hibachi. It's other groups too. It's not Italians that do pizza. A lot of your Italian places have low-key Palestinian or Mexican folks in there running and working there. My point is, black people have this moral righteousness that this was y'all alluded to earlier that uses it. Now, I don't necessarily have an issue with Chinese or Asian people, but the reality is it's our fucking money. And on top of that, they don't fuck with us. The one thing we don't do to people is economically punish them. It's not practical to do that with white people. I'll admit that. But every other group, it definitely is. We are paying people to fuck with us. This is why even this crap with the ICE group. Hispanics know what they say about us behind the scenes that we don't even hear, yet they got the nerve to ask us about why we not helping them. I wish God, a woman or man would get in my face and ask me some shit like that.
Why do you think I raised the issue I raised? It's not just to be like some conservative asshole. These are actual real problems that confront the modern fucking political dynamic. So like all of your politicians, every elected official, damn near every black public celebrity is on some support the immigrants thing. But black folk who have to live their regular non-celebrity, non-protected government lives, they're like, oh, nah, these immigrants get together and they click up and force us out. I can't support that. And so we have a problem that's brewing on a real front.
All of that is Democratic Party shill shit. Like, does anybody disagree with that?
Yeah.
That's Democratic infrastructure bullshit. Like everybody agrees.
I think that's infrastructure bullshit.
Let me get to this.
That's a Democratic thing. Let me just point out the reason why I'm bringing this up. What are black men supposed to do? Are you supposed to keep going along? Are you supposed to keep doing the normal thing? Or we're going to fight for racism. We're going to march. We're going to protest. Because obviously the things that we've been doing up to this point aren't going to solve the problem that we have now.
Let me do this. Let me organize this.
We're not in a technical pro-black space. You're talking to us like you're in a super duper. We're not Dr. Umar guy. I'm not saying we're not in pro-black.
I mean, you're still pro-black. I don't know that you're actually breaking the mold of pro-blackness in any like radical way here. And this is what I mean about being right-wing and black American. Like you're not necessarily focused on the things that matter in my estimation. And this is why we kind of keep having this conflict.
But we're not Umar. We're not. This is not matriarch.
Wait, everyone. Wait. LAR got it. Wait. No. Conservative, no. Wait. You're right. But we got to be organized. Conservative next, and LAR next, and then you got a conservative. Go ahead.
I do this. I do it a service this way. This ain't a Democratic issue. This is an America issue. See, and this is a white America issue. The reason why we have a drug problem in America and a crime problem in America, because white America pushed for that on the low. The reason we have an immigration problem is because white people didn't want to pay American citizens a fair wage, so they wanted people to come from everywhere in the world to work for cheap because their business model was based on slavery. That's a white America problem. The reason why we having these issues now with these, The reason why we having this issue with
you're right. But keep going. You're right.
The reason why we have a family issue in America, because white people wanted to fuck up the family because they wanted to make more money and tax people more. That ain't just a Democratic issue. That's a America Democratic and Republican issue. The issues that America face. The reason why we don't have manufacturing and jobs in this country. It's because white America wanted to take everything overseas because they wanted cheap labor. This is how America has worked. The reason why it's gonna burn, the reason why it's failing, it's not nobody's fault but white folks. They bring in their problems.
I want to underline something that you were talking about, LAR. You were talking about the laziness issue. So I have an anecdotal example of this. So me and my wife went to a furniture store because we're looking for a couch, and I struck up a conversation with one of the people that was checking that we were paying. We bought a mattress or something, and he told me that 3 people did not show up today for a job interview. 3 people. And I asked him some specifics about the job. So this job is like $16, $17 an hour position, full-time position, benefits, all of that. Didn't show up. 3 people in the same day did not show up for the job. Now, it's highly likely that the folks that didn't show up were white folks, because I looked around at who was working at the place. But and I asked him further, apparently this is a regular thing. They've had dozens and dozens of people that just don't show up for job interviews. So anyway, I just wanted to put that up in there.
And I think let me back up LAR a bit. If you're, I get it. You there's a blood, and this is why I try to be careful, even though I'm part of the Black Manosphere and I'm a content creator and a thinker in this space. I get the frustration at the ladies. I get the frustration. What I don't want us to do is do what they did. So what they did in the 60s and 70s is spite us and go the complete opposite direction and destroy everything, including themselves in the long enough run, right? I don't want us to be that either, right? So I'm agreeing with Dr. Thunder.
And I think we might end it right here, because I added a lot more runtime to the show because 100 came up and we had a whole other conversation on top of that. But I think this is a weird conundrum he just talked about with Black women and Black men. So Black women have made their own allyship with white America in one way. Black women have allied with liberal, feminine white America so that they can have their gains, so that they can effectively live apart from Black men. And if Black men see that as a problem, if Black men have any sense of American Black nationalism and they want America and Black people in America to be doing well, then I think the only appropriate move is to ally with the actual white men, the far-right white men of America, who are against all the things that have ultimately poisoned Black America and prevented Black men from accessing the kind of white American dream that Black men have always wanted to have. That being said, though, I got to get up out of here, man. We've been running way, way over time tonight, and I got to go. But the Black-Brown Coalition is pretty much done. And Black America does have a socio-political conundrum to deal with, because the Black political dynamic cannot contend with what's overtaking us right now. Like, all of your Black politicians are selling you out, and so things gonna have to change. But we gotta pick this up at another date, man. I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all have a great night. Thank you to everybody for listening. Shout out to everybody who supported the show, man. Hit that like button on your way out the door. We are gonna put this one in the bag, man.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't gonna help anybody. It's certainly not going to help Black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.